Hello, everybody, and welcome to Saber Dice. It is Monday, and that means we are back here for Numenera Fury. And with me is the usual cast and crew, minus one metal-armed man. Unfortunately, real life takes its toll, and Arri had to be missing today's session. So let's go around and introduce the current cast and crew, or the remaining cast and crew for now. And we'll start with the slightly mind-controlled zombie-ish Kenny. Who are you, where can we find you, and who are you playing today?
My name is Kenny Hill. You can find me at twitch.tv/Kenny Hill. It's KENIHILL. And I am playing Silica. She is a charming glaive who fights with panache and is currently zombified a little bit by a mind control slug.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. She's getting through it. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, she'll be all right. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to Bill. Who are you? Where can we find you? And who are you playing today?
I'm Bill. You can find me on a YouTube channel I run called Wyloch's Crafting Vids, where I show you how to make really cheap, easy terrain for your tabletop games. And I'm playing Wyloch, who's a mystical nano that exists out of phase and has had his mind pretty much shattered by a cosmic encounter.
Awesome. And we'll jump over to Ted. Who are you? Where can we find you? Who are you playing today? And who are our sponsors?
Absolutely. How's everybody doing? I am Ted of Nerdarchy, or Nerdarchist Ted, however you want to do it. Nerdarchy is generally a YouTube channel and a website all about 5th edition D&D, general role-playing tips, and that kind of stuff. I'll be playing Zariff, the tough glaive who explores dark places. And our sponsors, as they've been for the duration of the game so far, we have Archania Workshop, fantastic 3D printed terrain, minis, dungeon tiles, that kind of stuff. Also Dungeon Painter Studios, pyromancers.com. If you want easy to make maps, custom made to your liking, go check them out.
Awesome. And as always, guys, I am Mike from Unmade Gaming. If you want to see more of my content, head over to anywhere that's Unmade Gaming. To kick things off today, we did something new last week, and we're going to continue it this week. So, at the end of the episode, the cast and crew here will decide amongst themselves who they think deserves 1 free XP, and you, the viewers, will decide who you think deserves 1 XP in the comments down below. So I've scoured through the comments of last week, and it has come up that Zariff has won. It was a close race. Zariff, you have 1 free XP to use at your leisure, or to stack up. Oh no, everyone's camera jostled. We're back. That's all right. I'll quickly adjust the cameras. Guys, don't mind those cameras.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. No worries.
While Mike does that, XP is used not only to level up, but you could turn in an XP to get a reroll should you get something horrific and whatnot that you want to make go away.
Which is common, because I do that all the time. I give you guys horrific things that you want to go away. So yeah, it works out pretty well.
But also at the same time, we also have quite a large number of 1s that we have rolled, and in Numenera, 1s are a GM intrusion that typically give XP, but when you roll a 1, it doesn't happen. So bad stuff happens, and you don't get an XP for it. So using that XP to do a reroll on a 1, not a bad idea.
Yeah. All right, cool. Our cameras should be fixed, and with that,
I'm sorry, I made more work for you.
Dang it! That's all right. It's a quick.
Let me touch the technology.
It's a quick fix. I just gotta drag things around. So with that, previously on Fury. Having forced their way out of the Naganian egg chamber and freed themselves of the clutches of those that would do them harm, Arri, Wyloch, Zariff, and Silica moved a safe distance from the acid-scored metal doors and settled down in an attempt to lick wounds, process the information they had gathered, and keep a watchful eye on the passage. Realizing they would need more information on the entity known as the Insidious Choir and the matron of the Nagana, Devola, it was decided that the best course of action would be returning to the egg chamber, apologizing for their past transgressions, and asking for an audience with Devola. Led by the Lily, Silica, Wyloch, Zariff, and Arri wound their way deeper and deeper into the underground passages, finding themselves in the ruins of an ancient, crumbling city of indeterminate age, seemingly suspended over a wide chasm of unfathomable depths. They entered a final chamber and found themselves face to face with the overbearing presence of Devola, the Naganian matron. So you guys have just finished your meeting with Devola, as tense as that was. You have been given information of a device called the Impossible Blade, and that it would help you destroy or at least set back the Insidious Choir, and you have been ushered from Devola's chamber. What are you guys doing?
So we have to go deep inside to find the impossible blade, which can release the grasp on the island.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've got so far.
Mm-hmm.
So are we looking to go further down from here, or like do we go back up and find another way down? I mean, we know the insidious choir is everywhere, but we care about where they are here.
It seemed like the Ebola Big Mama Serpent was suggesting that we needed to check out the city a bit more. And because this is like a very cavernous space. And so there is a lot for us to check out here, even though there's definitely some like shifty shadows. Things are a little uneasy here, but this might be the best starting point, or because it should be. Do we get the feeling that it's pretty central to the island?
Yeah, you guys know that you're definitely, so you guys have figured out that the island, the city at the center is smack dab in the middle, and these doors you believe dotted around, similar to the design embedded in Arri's arm that both Wyloch and Zariff remember, and Wyloch has conveniently written down on a piece of paper right next to him. That symbol, the doors are in a concentric circle, so you believe that you had gone directly under and then like more towards the center, but you have no real way of determining how close to the center you are, but you're for sure underneath the island, and it seems in a central location.
So, Wyloch, given the information that we have now, and your, I don't know whether journey is the correct term or not, but when you went into the tower, are there anything that pieces together a little bit easier, or do we still not have any really new clues yet from what you saw inside?
The only thing I saw inside was that symbol. I know that it's somehow tainted this place. And we should check this place out. There could be history. There could be trinkets. So this would be a good opportunity to stock up on Numenera before we go into the depths of the world.
At that mention, I pull out the cool box that I got last time.
Yes.
A box of trinkets?
I start salivating.
No. It's a portable steed. That thing's amazing.
I know.
So joyride. So there's this big underground city. I don't know exactly how we're RPing Arri, but I would like to basically put a little leash on him. Like he's entered some sort of what I assume is like Ebola serpent induced dreamlike trance, maybe something similar to the Philharmonic monsters that we encountered a few episodes back.
Exactly.
And,
so,
but he maybe can walk still, so I'm going to make sure that he tags along with us.
He can. I am nothing if not a benevolent game master. So if a player cannot make it for real world events, they just sort of drift listlessly behind you and participate in nothing and help you in nothing at all. But they're there when they get back. So
I mean, I really want to RP him into this situation because I mean we have had this very bad habit of just disrobing Arri without his permission. So I feel like this is really our opportunity to just capitalize on his helplessness.
Yeah.
So I will.
Yeah.
So I want to trudge off. I am just happy that we survived the encounter with Mama Ebola because she is a scary, scary person, serpent monster Mama. And so I want to get out of there and like kind of away from her as quickly as possible. As much as I respect her, I got this inner sort of conflict with the slug consciousness and my consciousness, but I want to get out of there and get us out of harm's way as much as possible.
So Wyloch, are you suggesting that we spend some time searching down here for useful things, given this is an abandoned place?
I am, because the thought occurs to me, the serpent wants the contagious choir, the insidious choir destroyed. We believe that the insidious choir was what has disrupted the island and caused the storm. So for the nonce, it seems that the enemy of our enemy is our friend. And it's the same solution to both problems.
That is true. And no stealing Silica's things. She's the one that mispronounces things. So can we, without getting lost, can we take a look around this massive city and see if there's anything that's going to be useful for us.
That's entirely up to you. If you can do it without getting lost, you can do it. Whether you get lost or not is entirely on you and your dice rolls. However, I feel like Zariff was made for this challenge, as if the game master planned a dungeon for a guy who's a dungeon delver.
So, like, the person who explores dark places, you made a dark place.
I made a dark place to explore. Yeah, weird. It's weird how the characters, they just give me a sentence to use and I used it. So yeah, you guys can absolutely attempt to navigate through the city. Did we figure out what the noise was? That you didn't have your microphone down?
My microphone was up, so like it was trying to pick up my voice, but couldn't because it was way up here. It's been a long day, I tell you. Okay, I am so ready to explore this really dangerous dark dungeon.
You're not
we're all
not a Medusa that your hair is going to have the conversations for you. No.
Guys, we're all professional streamers and YouTubers here. Don't worry. You can do it too. So yeah, you guys can absolutely attempt to explore the city and not get lost. I don't have any problem with that. How you want to do that?
I have a question about. So I have a couple of glow orbs.
Yes.
What are they made out of? Could I use them to mark our path? Sort of like a Hansel and Gretel sort of thing?
No.
Like break them apart? No. They're not like bioluminescent material that I could drop?
No. Glow orb is essentially the Numeneran torch, right? So think of any cool sci-fi movie where it's a literal orb that you're like, boop, and it kind of floats up next to you. Or you can hold it and like glow with it. It only hovers like a little bit off your hand, so you have to actually hold the orb. But yeah, it's like a torch or a flashlight.
Okay.
I'm looking around. We're underground, basically in an enormous cavern. There's a city inside of it, right?
Yeah.
Are there perhaps like crystal geodes jutting out from the surface of the cavern?
There are not, because this entire place is made out of metal.
Oh, it's a metal cavern.
Well, the entire island is metal. The only thing that hasn't been metal that you've seen are the strange flora. The flora and the fact that there's like actual buildings made out of like tile and stonework and like other undetermined metals.
Okay, I was just looking for any kind of features, irregularities. If it's metal, maybe it would reflect or something. But if we were to place a glow orb next to one,
but it's not gonna stay, is what he's saying.
Yeah, you got to like put it down.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Yeah, they only hover like a couple inches off of a surface. Unless you get really high up there and put it on something, normally you just kind of hold it in your hand and it like, and it floats above your hand.
Well, you did describe some things that look like, my interpretation was like lava lamps.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how many of them there are, but like we could use those as reference points.
Yeah, there is for sure. The city is full of, it's like a real city. So the city is full of reference points. You just have to find the reference point and decide this is a point of reference. Or you can make your own. Like you guys can, I'm sure one of you has some kind of chalk. I would say Zariff has some kind of marking tool. So you can absolutely mark, I've been by here, I've been down this hallway, down this corridor, this street. You definitely have tools on you with which to dungeon delve. You were sent here, after all, as an exploratory force to figure out what the heck was happening with the storm. So you were definitely outfitted with things.
But you can't mark the tiles on the ground because then the creatures underneath.
Yeah, then the labyrinth will come and rotate them out.
Oh, labyrinth spread.
Yep.
Yes.
Tiny goblins will come out and just flip them over.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's lipstick. She used lipstick, by the way, not chalk.
Yeah.
Well, yes. I wasn't saying what she used. I'm just saying you can't mark it that way.
Got it. All right. Well, I'm ready to head out and probably defer to Zariff because this definitely is his area of expertise here.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever he feels like is best and he feels comfortable going, whatever feels safest, I'm going to trust his Zariff-like instincts.
All right. So what I would like to do is I would like to, see if they're willing to wait next to one of these light sources, and I'm going to go up and I want to try and see if I can get a pattern or any kind of visibility, anything that's going to point me in a direction that might, indicate something of value. I don't know how exactly this is laid out, other than like, are we talking about a city as in modern standpoints? Talking a city as in fantasy standpoint? They're vastly different things.
Yes, is the answer. So it is in Numenera, it's because there's so many vast expanses of years between the worlds. So this is, by our standards, probably a futuristic-looking city, but it has the qualities of both. There's like large buildings. There's what look like they could have been streets, but because cities are so vastly different in the current age of the Ninth World, you have no Zariff has no frame of reference point to base that on. So you can base it on what your knowledge of cities is, which, like, the city of Bridges, which was the last city you guys were in, is literally just hundreds of interconnected docks at random that just seem to have drifted together, and someone was like, I'm going to make that a street. And fuse two docks together. So there is.
But here you're saying there's skyscrapers.
There are there's massive buildings. There's all kinds of weird things that are abnormal to the cities you're used to.
All right. I'm going to use that as a reference point then, and say that typically your marketplace, your wealthy, the things that will be the most useful are going to be centric.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to try and see if I can locate the center.
Okay.
While you're at it, should we not try and find a house of knowledge, something with grand architecture or a symbol mounted to the top?
Have we seen anything in here that shows, print, language, anything to that kind of standpoint?
You have. However, until this moment, it didn't really jog your memory, because the language or the script or whatever it is that it was written in is completely foreign to you.
So there is some buildings that are marked, but I don't have the ability to read that language. Wyloch, are you versed in any of this linguistics? Or Silica?
I'm willing to take a crack at it because I went to some really fancy private schools growing up. So Latin, Greek, dead languages.
Yep. If those
whether
existed.
I remember them or not.
If those existed right now, those would be great. But you are 9 billion years in the future, and knowing Latin is impossible.
Very true.
Yeah. So in Numenera, everyone speaks some dialect of what is called the Truth. The Truth is the officially unofficial language of the Ninth World, as put out by the Aeon priests. They kind of made the language, but you can go from different places, and the further away from the Steadfast you get, the more dialectal they'll be, where it's like you'll pick up a few words, but they're uncommon, but there's no official language of Numenera, and whatever the script is written in, the only person, maybe Wyloch with your weird brain, might notice some of the words, but you have no understanding of the letters or the pronunciation. It's like if I showed you Aramaic, you would know that it's a language, but couldn't read it or make a phonetic pronunciation of it. So yeah, you've seen what you believe to be writing, but you have no way to make out what it is. A symbol on a building might give you some kind of knowledge, or seeing what the building is, you might associate this word with food. If it looks like you go inside and it looks like there could have been rotten food in there or something like that. But your first question, Zariff, was can you find the center? And that is incredibly easy because you're in it.
Oh, well, perfect. So as we're able to begin looking around, I will try to ignore linguistics and look to see symbology.
Mm-hmm.
And if something does seem to register as this, it's got a picture of a book on it. Well, then that could very well be library.
Mm-hmm.
If this has got a picture of something that might be a divine symbol. Now, what's the difference between a cross and a, golden arches? I don't really know, because, you never know how different cultures represent different things.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to make the Church of McDonald's or anything here, but, just saying.
I mean, I don't think that's season 2 sponsor of the Church of McDonald's, guys. You heard it here first.
I'll get them in on that. It'll be fine.
Yeah. It will just show up eating Big Macs every. That's the first 30 minutes, and then it's like. All right. So you're trying to get high and look for something around you.
I want to see if there's anything that sparks my interest. I mean, if we're talking about skyscrapers, these are things that I'm not familiar with at all. And I honestly, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I could spend, all the amount of time here until our rations are gone, but I don't think that's going to be useful.
Yeah.
So we have to be cautious about how much time we spend doing this. So I want to use, the knowledge that I have throughout the years of doing this crazy dark explorations to try and see if there's anything that's going to indicate a direction I should go, a building that I should look in, because time is important.
Okay, so for you, without rolling, you would assume that the location you're in, which is Devola's lair, seems to be smack dab in the center. I believe you're the only one that walked around the entire metal grating circle around the building. The building. You would notice or recall that the same catwalk that brought you to the ring around the building had several other broken, shattered catwalks off of it, as if they spidered out. Like this was a central location that led to other different places. Sort of like a pizza, right? So you have a good feeling that makes sense to be in the center of a city. It seems kind of out of place architecturally in other locations. However, this building is almost entirely smooth and would be very difficult to climb. So you can track back the other way, hop off of the catwalk, and then try to scale one of these buildings or climb through the inner workings of one of these buildings, though crumbling as they are, and get a higher vantage point. Is that what you're trying to do?
I think that's the best bet. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, whatever gets you to a high point to decide where we need to move next. And so he's probably a little preoccupied assessing the verticality situation. I want to be on high alert while I trail Arri behind me.
Yep, you have your Arri leash.
Yeah,
give him a tug.
Because we are the glaives.
Yeah.
He is more glaive than I am, and I'm very sad to not have his full faculties with us this evening.
We are the glaives, we are the glaives.
Yes.
So
I am on high alert for whatever shifty shadows might have their dark designs.
Got it.
trained
Gotcha.
on us.
And Wyloch, what are you doing?
And I effectively have my ears bared, as it were, trying to. I'm using sense magic, so I'm trying to detect if there's any Numenera nearby.
Ooh.
Just as we walk through, if there's a device in the gutter or a nearby building or something like that. So
Okay.
I'm using sense magic.
So I will need everyone to roll me perception. Wow. Everyone roll me an intellect challenge. Zariff, searching. Silica, you have nothing, I believe. And Wyloch, I will give you an asset for using detect magic.
Okay.
Difficult.
The difficulty would be 4.
I hit the button. I did not see the thing pop up. There we go.
One more.
Whoa, yeah.
Okay,
Well
cool,
then.
awesome. So, Kenny, we'll start with you. We'll start with Silica. So, Silica, you are trained. You're looking around for any sign of danger, right? Now, it is a dim, dark, cavernous place. So what little light you have, even from your glow globes or from the esotery that Wyloch has conjured nearby, only extends a few feet past you, like a flashlight or a lantern. So you kind of look around, and again, much like what Zariff saw on the way in, you now confirm his suspicions that there are other things here. Though whether your light source is keeping them at bay or they just don't seem to give a crap that you're here, you see there are different shapes, sizes, creatures kind of lurking in your peripherals. Every once in a while, like a swarm of something small just sort of swoops down and it disappears out of your view. Nothing seems to be approaching you, but you know that you're not alone here. However you want to deal with that, that's up to you. You know that there are other creatures here. We'll go to Zariff. You find a prime building. The hardest part of your search was finding a building you felt confident that you could easily climb without having the building collapse on you. But you are sure that you have found one. And with that, I will give you an asset to actually scale this building. So you have an asset for whenever, a speed asset for whenever you try to actually climb this building, because you are so good at finding one that would not crumble under the weight. And Wyloch, you are looking around for sensing any kind of Numeneran technology. You have the smallest bead of Numeneran pull in the north. You don't actually see a device, but something about it, you just feel like there's something northward.
And is that in the direction of the building that we found?
No. The building is just for him to look at, like a lookout tower. The building, so basically, if here is Devola's castle, right, you guys crossed the bridge back to where there was land, because she was hanging over a wide chasm. The building is near there. North seems to be further up in this cavern. He picked the closest, most easily accessible, safe building. So you guys really haven't left too far out of the city's center.
Okay. I just kind of log it back here for now.
Got it. Cool. So yeah.
So do you let me know that information before I begin my climb?
Good question. Look to the north, see what you can see.
That's my face. You can't do that face.
Will do.
Stealing everybody's things.
Yeah.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
Yeah. You can try. Okay, so Zariff, I assume that means you're scaling this building, right?
Indeed.
Okay. Speed 4, and I assume you have some, innumerable number of climbing techniques you can use.
So how tall is the building?
This building, your best guess is it's probably over 100 feet high.
All right, so that's going to be really hard to throw a grappling hook that far up.
Well, you can. So this building has several openings in it that have metal jutting out of it. The building itself seems to twist as if either grabbed and rotated, or maybe it was built that way. You're not entirely sure, but there are points you can grapple on. You're just not going to be able to grapple right to the top.
Okay, so
you
could I
can
do it
grapple.
Could I do it in stages and use a grappling hook as a bonus or another asset?
I will allow. I'll say this: you can use the grappling hook as the first asset, but essentially you would be inside of a. So realistically, you'd be inside of a skyscraper, throwing the grappling hook out and around to the next window. So for the first one, it's easy. You throw it from the ground, you hook it on, and get up there. So it's gonna be a little bit harder to get up from there with the asset. You can absolutely use it. You get an asset for the first climb, but not for the second or third.
Okay. So got climbing. You said difficulty 4.
Yep.
And it's 2 assets for the first one?
Yes. And while you do that, James Leslie drops $10 super chat and says, "Just dropping by. Have a great game, guys. Cheers." Thank you so much,
Thank
James.
you, James. James is one of the authors over on our website.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. I was just on your website the other day. Oh,
well, thank you, sir.
Weird. Yeah, I did an interview with Doug.
Oh, cool.
That looks like a success to me. So yeah, you easily throw that grappling hook, and with all the skill of an intrepid adventurer, you climb that hand over hand very easily, and you find yourself. How much rope would you say you have?
I have 2 things of 50 feet.
Okay. Would you use both of them? I mean, I guess you wouldn't be able to throw 100 feet high.
I can't. I'm saying I could get 30 to 50 feet. I'm not a wimpy rogue. I've actually put points in might.
Yeah. So we'll say you get like 40 feet up there. You kind of throw it up there. So you're a little bit less than halfway up this building. You're pretty confident another throw would get you high enough, without having to go all the way to the top. So if you want to get higher than this, it will be climbing with 1 asset for your precarious or your in-depth detail looks.
Same difficulty though, right?
Same difficulty, yep. Boom, success. Same thing. Boom, you throw it up there, easily wraps it around, coils around some open contraption shard of metal, grabs onto the rope, and you easily climb your way up to the top. So we'll say you're about 80 feet of the 100 or so high in this building. If you'd like to press your luck, you can, or you can look out from here.
Well, given the side of the building that I'm on, can I see northward or no?
You can. You also, once you climb up into the building, you see that this building is made into different chambers, and you're fairly certain that if you maneuver around it, as I said, it twists. You'll be able to find one of the other twists and get a better vantage in a full 360, as long as there are opened crevices and holes in the walls.
Well, unless there's something specific about this building that makes me think the roof is going to offer me anything of use or value, then I'm not going to, bother going up, even further.
Yeah,
we can just work from here. I will make a a special notation to look off in the direction that Wyloch, said to look, but I will get as close to a 360 view as I can get.
Sure. Yeah, so go ahead and roll me a searching difficulty 4.
Come on.
If he crits, I want a McDonald's.
the church of the Golden Arches.
I want the Church of the Golden Arches.
Demonetized.
Dang it. I'm ruining everything.
This is YouTube after all. Okay, cool. So you are able to maneuver around the interior of the building, and you find that there is the hole you climbed out of. There are actually 2 more holes that you can see out of at different points on the building. So while you don't get a full 360, you get a pretty decent 45-degree angle arc out of each of these holes. And you see a vast expanse of city. The first thing you notice is that the Devola's palace or lair or whatever we want to call this is suspended over a massive hole. The second thing you notice is that there is you can actually begin to see edges of walls, and it doesn't seem that the cavern wall, as it were, is symmetrical. It's not, so like you'll see walls and you won't see any wall, and you'll see wall somewhere as if this was almost crenulated like a cog. So that's a new shape you guys haven't really identified with here. Everything seems to have been smooth. So here the walls sort of dip in and recede and pull back out. You see that the city is broken into 6 what you would consider districts, kind of like a pizza. And to the north, you see that there is one of the crenulations that sticks out. There is what appears to be a hole or a circle or something cut or carved, or you're not entirely sure what it is, but it looks different than the rest of the crenulations. There seems to be some kind of entranceway maybe, or somewhere deeper. And you do see the in our sense, traditional like markings of like this district has a lot of high buildings with what look like crumbling smokestacks and a lot of metal jutting out in random shapes. You see that there are other ones that have your best guess is this at one time could have been a ship, but they're so like toppled over and folded into each other that you're not entirely sure what they could have been when they were used. So yeah, this has the markings of districts, but they're so far gone or so far deteriorated, it's difficult to determine what they are or were. But that's what you see.
Any best guess on the wealthy district?
Huh. Yeah. I'll say yeah with a 14. Yes, you do see a more wealthy district. You see that beyond Devola's lair, there is a district of, it looks like towers. It looks like a sea of towers. There are, in fact, 7 towers jutting up around this slice of a district. They all look to be in obvious disrepair, but from what you can tell, with your keen eye, the panes of glass or metal or tile work, and I'm not exactly sure what kind of material they are, they're different colored, which in your head would denote some kind of wealth as opposed to the drab same color of these buildings. So that's the only real hint you would get towards more wealth, is the bright lights or bright colorful area, followed by several towers.
And what direction would they be in?
Those would be east.
So I'm gonna fix those positions in in the brain pan. What's given how much time we've been here, and me being able to see as far as I can, am I able to gauge travel time to be able to get to said towers and from here and to the hole?
Yeah. So one of the things you notice is the way you came into the city, and that from where you are, or at least from where Devola is to the edge you came in on, was about 3 hours. So you're pretty sure that from the center of Devola to any wall or crenulation of wall you could see is about 3 hours.
How convenient that we've already managed to walk that path, and we know.
Right.
So I will head back down. So I will unhook the hook, and I will start lowering myself on the rope.
Yep.
So that I'm not losing my grappling hook, and then getting to the next one and do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you lower down. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So you safely descend this thing.
Without to me, it's a normal practice. You get the thing hooked,
Yep.
and then you use whatever you hook it on as like a pulley system, and lower yourself down while maintaining your rope and your grappling hook.
Yep. Yep. Sounds perfect. Yeah, you don't even have to roll for that. This is a practice thing you've done plenty of times, so you are fine getting all the way down. So you descend, and while he is climbing, searching, and descending, what are Wyloch and Silica doing on the ground?
I'm wondering if I noticed Wyloch's like weird, like is Wyloch, are you doing any like sort of weird thing that would catch my attention? Because I'm already just like on edge here.
Yeah, I've been staring towards where this pulse is, and I haven't blinked once.
Great, so that's freaking me out.
So just normal Wyloch things.
So Silica's playing solitaire.
Yep. She's having a conversation with Arri and can't figure out why Arri won't respond to her.
Yeah, Ari's not responding. Wyloch's not responding. They're both off in their own world. Mm-hmm. I'm discarding them at this point.
If it makes you feel better, Arri, to counterbalance Wyloch's staring, he closes his eyes.
Oh, wonderful. He's like powering down.
I like how he's going to have to rewatch this and be like, what did I do?
What have you done to me?
Yeah, so you guys maintain your watches and your awkwardness and your confusion as Zariff descends down the skyscraper, for lack of better words, to meet you all on the ground.
So I come down, not with any expediency. I'm not one that's going to do let me just drop the last 10 feet, real fast just because. He tends to move slow and stealthy when possible. So I dropped down. I found two things of note. Should we wish to investigate further, Wyloch, you said to the north, there is a hole that definitely stands out, but it is at the very edge of the city. So from here, it is roughly another 3-hour journey. Should we head eastward, there are a number of towers, which, given the drabness of this city, I would hesitate to say that would be where the people of wealth would be, and the wealthy are the one that have things. So I would recommend we start there.
Because they have things? Like Silica's skepticism meter rises exponentially. What are you implying here, Zariff?
That the common folk are not going to have anything of use to us, and if we're going to find anything of value, of note, that would be my best guess as to where we might be able to find something.
Feel it.
What?
So Silica's. I'm a little confused about like the common folk, like what you're saying, because we haven't really seen anybody. Like we have the suspicion of people being here, and there's definitely like something shifty happening. But you're suggesting that we go to a place that seems wealthier and just see what we can.
Well, this city is abandoned. There's not people living here. This whoever once lived here has moved on or died. I mean, we know about the ages of Numenera. Would it be referred to as that, or is it ages of something else?
The ages of the Ninth World. You guys are vaguely aware that things have come before you. There's no like historians. Like the closest thing you have to historians are the Aeon priests, and they categorize what they think the Numenera is. The Numenera is anything that you guys don't understand, essentially. So yeah, you guys know that you're not the first, and that other people have come before you because obviously there's ruins and things like that.
Right. I just don't know what the vernacular is.
Yeah, so it'd be the different ages of the Ninth World.
So, like, with different ages, there are lost civilizations, and I would hesitate to say that this is a lost civilization. So, if there's any leftover technology, the grouping of it, the collection would most likely be where the wealthiest individuals lived.
I mean, granted, even the people of our current age are known for hoarding Numeneran devices. It's natural that these powerful pieces of Numenera would end up in the higher echelons of society because we can be more responsible with them.
I'm not judging. I'm just stating that's typically how it is.
Okay, before we get into full-on class warfare here between Zariff and I.
No, do go on.
No, do go on, because this could continue. So this is in a completely different direction than Wyloch's on whatever it is.
Wyloch says that the thing he sees or notices with his mystical powers is north. If we want to check out where potentially, and I may or may not be right, there's roughly 7 towers that are they stand out. They have color in a place that is drab. Based on what I've seen, I think that's our best bet. I would recommend we go east and then we go north.
Was there anything else you noted up there?
Was there anything else I noted up there?
Not particularly.
From that vantage point, there was no other symbology, no other buildings that gave me any indication that it was worth our time here.
No irregularities in the cavern walls?
Not that I saw. I mean, we could spend days, weeks, months down here, looking at every single building, looking under, every piece of, rubble that has fallen. And I'm certain that we would find a wealth of treasure that would solve many of our problems. But the problem is time. We only have so much food. We only have so much time before we have to get back to the surface or risk starving.
So you don't tell me about the crenellations in the walls, the cavern walls.
I told you about the hole in the wall. That was the thing that's to the north.
A single hole?
Yes.
Okay, so backing up real quick. I thought you said that it appeared that the whole cavern had like periodic crenellations cut out, not just one hole, but there were like a gear. If you were looked down at that top, it would be the shape of a gear.
Yes. So the wall essentially went like this, right?
Yeah.
Like it's zigzagging around. Yeah.
So Zariff gives a better explanation than Ted did. Does that make sense, guys?
I explain it perfectly like my character would.
Yes.
All right. Crenellations, a cog. And then I pull Arri's cloak off and point to that.
What?
And I say something to the effect of, it is possible that the insidious choir has been here before or has been here all along. This place may have come to ruin by those who followed it. The city may have been attempting to create an enormous version of the symbol. So, for practicality, I agree. We should go east first, but let's tread carefully because the people who are likely to have undone this place probably lived there.
That is highly...
I'm okay with going east, but I will caution my comrades about these shifty characters in the shadows. We want to be very careful not to disturb whatever denizens remain here. Their motives are still completely unknown to us, and Arri has gone on a little spirit journey. So I'm your only glaive, who's not really much of a glaive.
Might I attempt to lead the party in a group stealth?
Sure.
Pull my cloak up and nod.
I pull Arri's cloak back up onto his shoulder.
And nod. Yeah, you can absolutely attempt to do that. So you guys are headed towards the east to find, hopefully, something useful?
Something useful in one of these towers.
Okay, cool. So how exactly are you going to lead everyone stealthily through the city for several hours?
Well, the whole idea is, give them a brief lesson. All right, here's where we zip it. Match my footsteps. We move slowly. We move cautiously. We look down before we put our foot down. Go through essentially the child's lesson of, hey, we need to get in here without making a noise. We don't want to wake up mommy and daddy.
Okay, cool. So I will give a bonus to Wyloch and Silica for a lesson from Zariff. And you guys can make a group stealth for that. So a bonus is not an asset. A bonus is merely a +1 for a quick lesson in quietness. So it will be a difficulty 4 from all of you, a speed roll or stealth if you have it. And Wyloch and Silica, you have a bonus.
I try really hard not to resent Zariff for the whole mommy and dad, the patronizing tone in which he is speaking to me right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend that that XP that the party gave us, or that the players gave us.
Inside Silica is cackling maniacally.
You don't know anything about that.
Okay, so yeah, so you're so to be clear, are you taking the 1 and stopping me from intruding, or are you re-rolling?
I'm re-rolling.
Okay, go ahead, re-roll. I hope you roll another 1, because it'll be hysterical. I mean, do great. Okay, cool. So yeah, for a second there, Zariff was stunned at how well Silica took to the stealth lessons. At first, he thought he lost her entirely, but really she popped back out and waved, and then disappeared again. And so everything was fine.
No, I think I was more blown away the fact that Wyloch disappeared.
That's true, but that Wyloch was able to do that. I like it.
Oh no, it was KENI that critted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, I saw it the other way. So yeah, so KENI disappeared, and I literally am like, what happened to her? Where did she go? And I had to stifle my own surprise.
Exactly. I dig it. Cool. So you guys head towards the east relatively quietly. I mean, one of you exceptionally quietly. So you guys head towards the east. You make your way around the city. It takes a little bit longer. You could have cut straight through Devolus, but you know, Zariff, that the other walkways seem to have been shattered or fallen off or something. So you have to kind of walk around. Now, do you go into the heart of the city, or do you kind of skirt the hole that this palace is hovering over?
Time is a little bit precious, so I want to try and be as close to direct as possible.
Okay.
But if we see things moving, or if we hear something, I want to move away from it, or pause, let it move on, and then move in the opposite direction for a bit.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, so you guys are all head on a swivel, especially Silica and Zariff. You guys have seen the shapes moving in the distance, but you're all relatively quiet. And though it does take a few hours, you do make it to where you can see closer and closer these majestic towers kind of springing out of the ground. You'll be there in about a half an hour, you expect. But you can see that there are 7 towers, one of which is almost severed in half. Now that you're closer, Zariff, you're more used to the looking around aspect of this. It looks like a clean cut. This doesn't look like a crumble. This looks like something was sliced in half, almost.
Buildings don't typically get cut in half.
I know, right? So one of the so there it looks like there were 8, and one of them is cut in half. So you see the remaining 7 are still up there in varying states of disarray. All of which have, now that you're closer, they have massive triangular tiles that seem to be of differing colors. They don't appear to be in any sort of pattern. They just seem to be random triangles, sort of, you know, all touching each other's sides, and then in different array of colors.
The layout of the towers, are they in any particular pattern?
They mark the border of this slice of pizza.
Okay.
And the one that is sliced in half, and the reason you couldn't see it is because it lines up directly with Devola's palace. So it would have, if you were looking, it would have been right behind Devola's, lair. So you wouldn't have been seeing that one.
Okay.
But it looks like there's one at the focal point of the triangle, 2 at the other corner, and then, you know, interspersed throughout of the border are these 8 towers. So where do you guys head now that you are close enough to see all this?
I would imagine to whichever one would be the closest to us.
Okay.
And, you know, try to inspect for... You know, like some of the buildings have been, you know, messed up and destroyed, and I try to get a bead on, are these things, you know, how do you get in? How sturdy are they?
It's a great question. So you guys are headed towards this this district here. You guys break the plane of the district. You kind of like, you're now in between 2 of these towers, right? The sliced tower and its second neighbor there. And everyone roll me a intellect 4, searching, looking, perception, whatever you guys have. Dope.
I'm very focused on the sneaking aspect, and and my major effect was obviously making sure Arri could sneak along with us, so I don't notice anything. Probably.
Sure.
I'm RPing this.
Yeah.
No one take this away from me.
Don't worry, you're so well hidden. You get a surprise round if there's ever a combat. If there's ever.
Oh,
a
you
combat.
gotta be kidding!
Yes, today is my day.
Somebody made the dice gods angry.
Episode 1. Episode 1, I felt bad for them. Episode 7, bring them on. Cool. So, dope. So Wyloch, the first thing you notice, you're almost drawn to it, is that you feel as you're walking through the line of these towers, you feel that there is some kind of field that you have just passed through, and you also feel the ground beneath you not moving, but you feel the ground dip forward as if you are now walking downhill towards the center of this district.
Only I feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Or everyone does?
Only you feel that. You feel this, like, as if you pass through some kind of field, and as you take a few steps forward, you have that, like, you know when you're on a slight hill, and you can kind of feel yourself moving down towards something? It feels kind of like that, but everyone else seems to be just walking fine and not noticing anything. You notice that there is a slight downhill to this walk you're taking.
I immediately think of some sort of gravitational tinkering, and I'm putting out my spider senses again. This screams Numenera to me. Something big nearby.
Okay. Are you trying to sense Numenera?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. What's that, intellect?
It is intellect. And because you're using sense Numenera, we'll give you an asset for it.
Okay. 4?
Yes.
Do I notice if Wyloch has like done his space cadet thing again?
It's hard to notice because he does it all the time.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you would notice anything different about why he's doing it now. Which with that 3, I don't think... You might notice him just kind of make a strange look or lean into nothing and do one of these.
That could be anything.
Yeah, but it could be anything. He could have to sneeze and he just kind of does one of these and you're not sure what that means.
Right.
Wyloch, you sense a vast amount of Numenera all around you. As if this district is still powered by something, and whatever you walked through was some kind of shield preventing you from seeing it before.
Okay. No beat on where the heart is, what the power source, or
your best guess. Yeah, so combined with that mini crit from before, your best guess is the heart of the district.
The heart of the. All right, and that's in the direction we're walking.
That's in the direction of where the downward force is leading you.
All right, this place still lives. Tread carefully.
He says.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I pull out my shield. Thank you. I was looking for a reason.
Cool. So you have been warned, and as you guys begin maneuvering forward into the heart of the district, forlorn Zariff sees these massive towers go by, and the treasures that could have been. As you move towards the center here, following the declination in the ground, you all begin to notice that there are vaguely humanoid forms on the ground. In the form of skeletons and rotten corpses.
Rotten meaning semi-fresh.
Yeah. I mean, like, mummified semi-fresh, if that helps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That I was like, recently deceased.
Yeah. Not like freshly, not like the egg chamber rotten, but more like,
okay.
whatever something happened mummified them, whether it was the humidity or their bindings or something.
They're withered and desiccated, but they're still flesh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Important.
Yep. So there are various arrays of them with rotted clothing, threadbare. You might see a leather satchel here and there, or what remains of a leather satchel, or some kind of hide, you would imagine. But the closer you get to the center, the more frequent the piles of corpses get. What are you guys doing?
How is my slug reacting? Because like we haven't touched bases in a while. Me and my slug friend. I'm out of like the clutch area. So like the imperative for the clutch is like not super strong. Devola freaked me out, but like so like I respect that. But now we're back into like mission mode.
Yeah.
But slug consciousness is still active.
You barely notice it's there.
It's not giving off any weird vibes.
Nope. You actually have, so your compulsion to protect the eggs has waned because you're not in contact or visual sight, and there doesn't seem to be an imperative destruction element happening. And the further away you are, the less you want to be back there. So you're fairly certain that the more you get away from it, you'll be fine. Like at this point, you're pretty sure that like removing the thing would just be a convenience at this point.
Right. So, but because maybe it would be convenient, but if it has its own self-preservation instinct, that might behoove both of us. If it's giving me any sort of like the direction you are moving is going to hurt me. Like if it has I don't know that these do have any sense of self-preservation for themselves, or if they're purely just going to sacrifice themselves for the rest of the clutch.
You're right, you don't know. It doesn't seem to be giving off any vibes right now.
Nothing though.
Nope.
Okay.
Not currently.
I can try.
Yep. That was a good try. It does not seem to be
mummies though, so like that I'm slowing down.
Weird,
regardless.
huh? Who puts mummies in a dungeon? So what are you guys doing?
Well, do we want to keep going towards where these massive bodies are, or did we want to go into one of these towers?
I'm getting fairly weirded out. So we should do what you thought we should came here to do.
So check out a tower before we move any closer to the center of this district?
Works for me.
Okay. So are you just reverting back to the closest tower near you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As long as it is not closer to the center of the district.
Good call.
Yeah, I'm not giving you that one.
Good call.
It just happened to be closer.
Yeah, it just happened to be right on. It was like on the edge of whatever's at the center there. Cool. So you guys kind of realize that you're getting closer and closer to mounds of corpses, and you decide, you know what? No, back up. So you kind of reroute and move back to the nearest tower. This is a tower. Again, this tower looks similar to the one you climbed, which leads you to believe that it's not something happened. They seem to be just designed in this twisted, almost like a candy cane kind of construction, right? Or as if you took a can and just twisted it, so it has that weird wraparound kind of thing. And again, there's these triangles of some kind of material. They have this vaguely reflective quality that probably was reflective once upon a time, but is no longer. But you still see this shine or this shimmer as you get close to it, and it adjusts in the glow globe.
Am I able to tell the material type? Stone, something man-made, metal.
You can roll intelligence for me. Difficulty 4. I don't think you have anything that would aid you in metallurgy or architecture. Wow, like you look deep in thought. What do you got?
I clicked roll.
You did. A 15. You know that this is some kind of synthetic material. It doesn't appear to be wood, glass, or metal. It seems to be some man-made synthetic or some kind of person-made synthetic design of an ancient civilization, which you know is fairly common to have been constructed in the previous eras of the Ninth World. However, you do see a door.
Oh, excellent. So I go over and I will do my typical. All right, this is a dungeon. This is not a city, and I want to inspect the whole area. Check for traps, essentially.
Check for traps.
Sure. So you notice that the door has a immaculately carved door frame. It's very ornate, like this tower was meant for to be seen, right? So you look for traps, any mechanism that may fall on you, any kind of Numeneran device. So yeah, roll me a searching difficulty 4.
While he's doing this, I'm still. I mean, now that Wyloch is like, okay, something is still going on here. We were freaked out by the Numenera. I'm still keeping an eye out for baddies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't find any traps.
No, you sure don't. Yeah, this looks like an immaculate place. In fact, you can actually see that there is no door on here. It is just the frame, and it opens into what you would consider like some kind of grand foyer as you kind of enter in. But you look around the door frame to make sure there's no kind of device that's going to jut out and stab you, or like some kind of laser field. You know, you've seen a lot of weird things in the dungeons you've delved into, but it seems like there's no, you even like poke with a rock or a stick, and there's no pressure plate upon the entrance. This looks like a very welcoming, albeit destroyed and desecrated area, but it seems to be just like a grand lobby almost.
All right, well, I will make my way in.
Okay. Before you stands, actually, what are the rest of you doing as he strides confidently into this building?
I want to check for the creatures that we know are there, the shifty shadows. Are they in this area, or do they know to steer clear of this area for reasons?
Roll difficulty 4.
Okay. Intelligence?
Yes. Yep. And Wyloch, what are you doing?
I would like to... I don't know if this is going to fly. I want to go out of phase.
Mm-hmm.
And then, much like I was able to trace the lily and where she had been by looking at higher dimensions, 7th, 8th, and see sort of a temporal ghostly trail behind her in the real world. Right now, we're in a field of Numenera. There's so much going on that I can't make it out. So much like any magnetic or electric field would have traces of things that had gone through it. I'm looking for where these fresh corpses may have come from. Do I see ghostly trails from them, such that I could trace back maybe what happened to them or when it happened?
Okay, so what I need from you, as you phase in and you begin to look in this strange dimension, I need you to make me an intelligence for defense roll.
Intelligence 4.
Yep, so an intelligence defense, difficulty 4. If you don't have the actual intelligence defense button there, just roll an intelligence 4.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what that... Okay, I'll just do intellect.
Yep.
4.
Intellect defense is usually when you have a fear-based or mind-based or mental thing. Like when you searched out with Numenera and you had a freak out, that's what you rolled. Okay, so you are not terrified as you shift into phase and begin to look around you, and you see exactly what you hoped for in the worst way, as you are surrounded by what appears to be hundreds of echoes of ghosts.
Okay, and can I train on one and maybe see if it came from the building that Zariff is coming from, or look at the moment that they were killed?
Yep. You see, with a 12, okay, with a 12, you see that they're not moving. They're not moving in any direction. They're not coming from anywhere. They all seem to be standing listlessly above their respective corpses. each ghost you see or each echo you see is assigned to a corpse and is just floating there. And you don't see it like we would traditionally imagine a ghost, like a transparent, visage. You see it as almost bits of data. Like it's choppy and blocky, just sort of hovering, and like every once in a while, like it glitches, and you'll see like, it twitch, but it always remains above its respective corpse, as if it is a floating virus.
As if, okay. All right. And so I can't see that far back, and I feel confident. I can't interact with them. This has already happened, right? So
yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm out. I'm back in phase. And I keep that in my mind. I know that Zariff's gone in, so I make my way back towards where everyone else is.
Okay, Silica, you look around at the edge of this tower here. You look around, keen to be like, we're not getting ambushed today, and you notice probably what you feared more than actual combat is nothing. There is absolutely nothing around you. In fact, as you begin to sit out there and listen, you hear no sounds. You hear only your own footsteps and the occasional stumble or kick of a rock that bounces off your shoes. It is as if someone had blocked your ears. You could hear a pin drop.
Nope. I call for Zariff.
Okay, Zariff, you are inside this building, this multicolored triangle building, and before you stands a circular, what you imagine to be lobby. It looks like there is great architecture in here. It looks like it was a very flashy kind of establishment or building or whatever it was. The architecture is very look at me kind of architecture, and before you stands an immaculately carved, looks like it could be out of one single piece of, you imagine to be some kind of synthetic wood desk. In the center, the dead center of this circular chamber.
And then I hear Silica calling.
And then you hear a Silica call for you from outside the tower.
What do you do, Zariff? What do you do?
I will head back out.
Yeah? So Zariff's coming back out of the building, hopefully unimpeded by anything or anyone.
Nope. Yep, he's completely unimpeded.
And I want to make him aware of the oddity of the situation, because he has way more experience than I do. I am definitely the most inexperienced member of our party, and I'm just like, isn't this odd? We that all of a sudden these shifty shadows are just gone, that nothing is trying to impede our way here, that these bodies are just piling up as we move to I just don't know that we want to risk poking our noses around this area any longer than we absolutely need to. I'm wondering if we should make a tactical retreat.
Well, there are a couple things to look at. Number one, if there is legitimately nothing around, then that is what generates silence. I deal with that quite a lot, or have dealt with that quite a lot in some of my explorations. But there is definitely caution to be had if we think that things were following us and now they no longer are. So did we get the impression that these things were out there and following us, or they were just out there?
You get the impression that they were just out there, that there were other entities in the city and that they appear to not be here. So
it is possible that did Wyloch say anything about the barrier? Did we feel the barrier?
Not yet. None of you felt it, and Wyloch didn't say anything about it yet.
It is possible that there is something about this place that keeps these things out. Perhaps it's the dead. Perhaps it's something attributed to the dead. I mean, they don't. I walk over and, like, have we been, like, are they all over the place, like covering the ground, or are they scattered?
They're scattered.
So, like, I would imagine we haven't been stepping on them.
No,
we've been, like, consciously stepping over, stepping around.
Yeah, like the best frame of reference I can give you is like imagine a war movie where there's kind of like bodies littering. They're like clumped in places. There might be one in the street. There might be like one leaning on a building. But this doesn't seem like at least the best of your knowledge. This doesn't seem like there was a war here. There's no like impact from like any explosive devices. It just looks like people dropped dead.
Are undead a concept in the ninth world? Have I fought undead before?
I would say for you, it's one of those like unicorns, right? It's a myth. People may say that they fought living corpses. You've never experienced that, but you've experienced like weird stuff, and you've just rationalized it away. So like that could be like someone might have fought something that they took for a corpse, a wandering corpse. But whether you believe them that it was or not is like if I told you today I fought a zombie, you'd be like, no, you didn't. It's the same kind of concept. Like you've never seen it, you don't know anyone that had first-hand experience, but you've heard like, oh, my friend, cousin, his brother was in a dungeon and he fought an undead, and you're like, no, he didn't.
Okay. So I mean, if there's, you know, if corpses rising is a thing, I would have imagined with the proximity we've had to these things, they would have acted already. And since they haven't, I believe the area should be safe enough to allow us to take a look around.
I begrudgingly go ahead and go with it. Yeah, I think Silica, you know, it's very possible that I'm overreacting because, you know, having the slug experience has hopefully changed me. I'm not just going to run off heroically and naively into situations. So I'm trying to exercise more caution. But if Zariff thinks it's safe, if Wyloch's giving us the go ahead, then I'm going to do my best to facilitate their search.
Sure.
But you have to admit, Kenny is hoping to prove Zariff wrong.
There will be an I told you so moment. If there's an I told you so moment, there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. The moment that, you know, some kind of monster leaps out and looks like a corpse, that's the I told you so moment.
The first thing out of my mouth.
There were zombies. I knew it.
So I heard the end of the conversation as I'm strolling up. And so I think I get the gist of what Zariff is saying. And I said, I don't know, but I believe it was the choir that did this. And I nod to the nearest pile of corpses. And if it's hostile to biological forms, that would explain why there's nothing else here.
Do we feel like anything going on? Like, is there anything in the air?
Not that you could tell. Nope. Not with the perceptions you rolled before.
All right. Well, I wish to, you know, by all estimations, you know, the area is safe enough, at least for now. I would like to head back into said building and see what can be seen. Okay. Cool.
I will be frank. I'm getting hungry. So yeah, let's go.
I'll continue to be Mike. I see your puns. I raise your dad jokes.
Dad humor.
So you guys head back towards the tower. This time, who goes in? Yep, I assumed as much. Does anyone else go with you?
Right behind.
Okay.
Yeah, I think at this point we're kind of conglomerating as a group.
Good. Okay.
Sticking together.
Mm-hmm. So you walk inside. You see the same intricate architecture around here. You see the same the tile floors. They are now square, and they appear to be a similar synth as the exterior of the building. And you see an immaculately carved, what looks to be a single piece of synthetic wood desk sitting in front of you. You also see that behind this desk there are 4 doors. Affixed to the wall, and there are splinters of broken, assumed to be furniture, wood, synthetic something, and crumbled rocks. And above you, you can see that there's actually like a floor, like a ceiling above you, and you can see that there are holes that have crumbled through, and you can kind of see up that there are more floors above this, as one would expect in a massive tower. What are you guys doing in here?
I would like to examine the doors at the back first.
Sure.
I'll take the desk.
Okay. And Wyloch?
I'm like flooded, right? So I can't try to sense if there's any Numenera devices around here because the whole area is flooded.
You can. It's just going to be one step more difficult.
Okay, yeah. So that's what we came for, man. thirsty for.
Okay,
it. So
cool.
That's what I'm
I'll take an intelligence 4 from everyone except for Wyloch. It will be a 5, and whatever searching or Numenera you have, please apply as necessary.
Trying to convince you I have a bonus for this. I spent a lot of time digging around my dad's desk as a child, and he's a politician. Would that give me any sort of looking for hidden latches?
I'll give you a bonus.
Bonus. I'll take
That was
a bonus.
good. That was good.
Not that it's going to help. Oh, well.
I'm getting some treasure.
You're getting something, whether it's treasure or not. Okay, cool. We'll start with the easy ones. So we'll go to Silica. You go to this desk. You as soon as you go to like touch the first like piece of paper you find, or the first writing instrument you find, it's dust. Unfortunately, this seems to be incredibly old. Whatever the desk was made out of is immaculate and has stood the test of time. But everything on here, the papers, everything is dusty and very delicate, right? It's like restoring something out of the Titanic. It just like crumbles as soon as you touch it. You try to jimmy open the locked drawers, and the lock actually just crumbles into rust. And the moment you open it, you see more paper, but the text on the paper, or at least what you assume would be text or script, is so faded beyond recognition, and it's in also this strange lettering that you don't understand. But it seems to be at one point neatly organized in there. There's different little capsules that would be for writing instruments, you would assume. There is a glass, you guess, bottle, half full of some kind of mysteriously gray liquid. And underneath the bottom of the desk, you find that there is a device that looks like a button that could have been pressed at one point. You may try to press it if you so choose, but you're not entirely sure what it does, or if it will just crumble when you touch it. So what do you do?
I'm going to hold off for a second.
Yeah? You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Zariff, how do you examine the doors?
My typical thing is I'm in dungeon mode. I'm looking to see if there's traps. I'm looking to see if it's locked.
Okay, so the centermost, so all 4 of the doors, they appear to have been once black. However, that is faded. They're this weird, like, muted gray kind of tone. And you can see that there was once some kind of artistic design around the edge of them. And that has now either faded or peeled, but what is left is a sort of shimmering metal look to it. The 2 outer doors both have some kind of handle on them, symbolizing that they would be able to be opened. The 2 center doors have nothing except for a large seam that runs down the middle. So do you try to open one of these other doors?
Yeah, I'll try to, the central one that. Go to that one.
Okay, so you try to put your fingers in and pry open the central door. It takes a bit of strength, and you can get it open a few inches unimpeded, and you look up into a dark chasm of like, it's a shaft of darkness that extends both up and down, but you see no way to ascend that without getting more assistance to pull this door open more. So you kind of release that one. Check the next one. You see a very similar sight, except this only extends maybe 10 feet above you before it hits some kind of ceiling or blockade, and does not extend down. The other outer 2 doors, one of them you put your hand on and the lock mechanism crumbles, and seems like that door is jarred. That's the rightmost door. And the leftmost door, you are able to more slowly adjust the handle on there and creak the door open, which reveals a set of crumbling stairs that lead up in a switchback kind of motion.
All right.
Cool. And Wyloch, you notice with your Numenera, so your major effect is going to be, unless you want to change something else, your major effect, in my opinion, is going to be your ability to shut out the, spectral entities around you and focus on what you're actually looking for without being flooded with information. Does that make sense? If you want something else, go ahead. Spit it out for me.
I would think that the success itself did that for me. All right. Can I use the major effect to like boost the? Because I was trying to look for Numeneran devices, right? Are some better than others? Like,
you do know that there are artifact level, which are incredibly rare. Whether you've seen one or not, your best guess, I think, because you weren't really an adventurer, right? Like that wasn't your. Well, I guess you wouldn't know what your past was. So right now, your current guess is like the most likely thing you have to an artifact might be the stone in your head. But like King Laird probably has an artifact. In fact, the albatross would be sort of artifact level Numenera. The amount of Numenera it contains would likely make it artifact. So yeah, you do know that there are artifact class Numenera which persist. The difference being like a cipher is a one-time use thing, whereas an artifact is like the Numeneran equivalent to a magical item, where you just keep this going forever, like the Cape of the Montbank or whatever.
I guess if possible, I would like my major effect to be that the thing I find is somehow weaponizable.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Why not throw a wrench in the game?
Throw a wrench in the game.
Roll me a D100.
Gladly.
Explodes. Whoa.
Awesome.
100. Did
Okay.
I do that right?
You did. You didn't, but that's okay. You just rolled a 100. So roll me. It's /D /R space D100. 59. Okay. I almost like the 100 better.
Well, you have all the power. If you want it to be 100, you can say that his faux pas was actually preordained, and that's what he got.
You know, you're right. I do hold all the power, and you don't see what I'm reading, so you don't know what the numbers mean. Okay, so describe to me how you are searching for this device, and you know what this kind of looks like as you go through your process here.
Well, everything outside was really disturbing. Everything's been basically like lit up like Christmas around me. Like you go to those drive-throughs at Christmas. And
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, everything starts to make sense, and I have one of my rare moments of clarity, accounting for the crit. And immediately, one of these things like shines out like a beacon to me. I know where it is exactly, and I even have a sense of what it is. Is it in the room?
It is. In fact, you see that there is this shining beacon, right? You didn't notice it before. In fact, none of you noticed it before with your terrible, terrible rolls. That inside the building, there is in fact one of the corpses here with you. And the moment you sort of phase in and begin to look for Numenera, you see with clarity this sort of, polygonal version of a ghost sort of shimmering and moving and sort of locked in place above this thing. And you feel like it's almost watching you, but you can't help but laser focus on this thing. And you see that maybe it's because it's inside of the building and it wasn't, exposed to the weather or whatever outside exposure there is. But this corpse seems to be one of the more mummified ones, and its clothing seems to be slightly more intact than the previous ones, all tattered and worn. And you see that there is a large leather satchel hanging off of its slight body. And as you approach it, you kind of look down on this thing, and you see that like the breeches, the leather satchel, or the satchel rather, they both seem to be made of some kind of hide. They have a hide-like material. The shirt is very threadbare, so you would assume that this is some kind of synthetic blend. But you reach around, and this guy doesn't have the makings of, like, despite the fact that it's exsanguinated and it has like no fluid or muscle definition, it doesn't seem to strike you as someone who belongs in like a wealthy district. Judging by its clothes, they don't seem fanciful or what you would imagine, even in ages past, to be someone of Silica level nobility, royalty, whatever, right? It doesn't look like a Silica. It looks more like a Zariff. And you sort of remove the pack as best you can without like breaking the arm off and slide your hand into the pouch. And you wrap your hand around a cold, you assume it to be metal at first, but as you slide it out, this looks like you just picked up a strange pane of glass. And with that massive level of Numenera there, you know that this is, for some reason, you know that this is a Yester glass, and you know exactly how it functions. You can activate this in a location, and I'll copy and paste this to you. You can activate this in a location, and you can see the last major event that took place in this area through the glass.
In the area that I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Well, in whatever you like, you basically put up the TV, and you can see through it, and it will display you on a loop the last active event.
And it's a one-time use.
It's not. Roll me 1d6.
It's a 1. 2 rolls a 1. Sorry, I shouldn't.
Okay. This is a level 8 Numeneran artifact. Every time you use it, you'll roll a 1d6. On a 1, it shatters in your hands.
Okay.
So, if this is an artifact, does that not count against ciphers?
It does not. It is not a cipher.
Nice.
It's not a cipher.
Nope, it is an artifact.
It is an artifact. Ooh.
Yes.
How we will weaponize it remains to be seen.
Yep.
Okay, so depletion 1 in 1d6.
Yeah, so I just copied and pasted it for you there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so every time you use it, you roll a d6. On a 1, it shatters in your hands.
Sweet. All right. So I'm still toweringly confident. I say, I believe this man was a thief. I sort of eye the glass, and I'm studying it to figure out everything that you just told me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm figuring out what it is as I catch up my character sheet.
Sure. So that leaves Zariff and Silica. Zariff, you are kind of looking over these 4 doors. You have found which ones are openable and sort of where they go in a general sense. Silica, you have tossed the desk and are kind of staring at that button under there.
The doors that open by pulling, were there any kind of cables or things that were there? Are there?
There were not. You see, in the first one, you see a dark shaft leading up and down. In the second one, you see a shaft leading up, and it only goes about 10, maybe 15 feet before you see a ceiling there or a platform there or something, and it does not actually extend down at all.
Okay.
Silica, what are you doing?
I am ready to press the button now that we have not been ambushed by anything. Things seem to be okay.
Do you have your glow orb out still?
Yes, because it's a floaty thing. So I can have my shield technically and the glow orb, and then I can drop the glow orb pretty quickly to
yeah, you can kind of set it to hover around you, right? Like an Ioun stone kind of thing.
So I do still have the glow orb.
So can you bring the light over here?
Do you say that before I press the button or after I press the button?
That's for you to decide.
I have already pressed the button.
Great.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect. Take an XP and give one to whoever you'd like.
Zariff.
Zariff, you get a free XP.
He's like asking me for the light as we're getting this.
Because the moment you depress that click, and it's that satisfying little metallic click in there, Wyloch, you immediately feel a hum around you as something powers up, and within a split second you hear wah, 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 as klaxons just sort of start blaring and echoing in the room you are in, and echoing outside and around the city. That's how loud they sound. You're not entirely sure how far they extend, but it is in a massive, like, ear-splitting noise of these klaxons just wah, 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 just going nonstop. And
pressing the button again.
No amount of depressing the button again and again stops those from happening.
I want them to know that it was me who has caused this issue. I pressed the button.
So you panic and you're like, click, 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 click.
But like, because they're probably in high alert because they don't know that I found the button.
Yep.
Zariff was just turning to me to ask for a light when suddenly the world exploded.
Mm-hmm.
So Can
Sure.
we determine where the noises are coming from? Is there like
Sure.
speakers
You can-
that we blow out?
Yeah, absolutely. So roll me. Everyone who's looking for the source of this noise can roll me a difficulty 5. Difficulty 5 intelligence. Because the blaring noise of the klaxons and the proximity to the noise is disorienting in your ability to find where they are coming from. So
Do I
anyone
get
who's
any
looking
sort
for
of
them.
asset or bonus for being the one who
Absolutely
pressed
not.
the button?
Absolutely not.
No. Oh, darn.
Nope, that's not going to cut it.
Mm-mm.
Do I get a bonus for pressing the button? No! Come on. That was a good try. Awesome. Everyone, you look around,
Wow.
and this noise is just, it's one of those, you have to like throw your hand around it, and you're like squinting, like for some reason that helps you block out the noise. Right, like when you turn your car down, when you can't find the street. Same principle. As you just like, bwah, 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 noise happens. And this noise, it seems to be extending on. You're not entirely sure how far away it goes, but you can hear it kind of reverberating. You hear like as it like echoes out amongst this empty, soundless slice of the district. What are you guys doing while this is happening?
Besides like cowering and
Besides
ears
panicking, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the opposite of stealthy. I remember this from the lesson that
Yeah.
Zariff gave us.
Yeah.
All right,
It was a good lesson.
This is making an obscene amount of noise, you would say.
Yeah.
So whatever the Numenera equivalent of beating feet is what we need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to triangulate where we are towards the north quadrant, and I'm going to say we need to go now.
Okay, cool.
I'm very okay with that.
So the first thing you all notice as you begin to move as quickly as possible out of this room, I think the first person to notice is Wyloch, because that nat 20 was pretty nice. So it has some residual after effects. You don't feel an overbearing presence around you. In fact, you feel nothing except for this sweet-ass device you have in your hand, because all of the spectral virus ghosts are gone as you begin to run away. As you're running, everyone please roll me a difficulty 4 intelligence perception check.
I have a question. Every time we roll a perception check or something like that, does that also deplete our pool?
Nope, only when you deplete your pool by spending. Yeah. So
If you
pool,
apply effort.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I'm sorry, difficulty 4?
Yep. The only way that your intellect pool gets depleted is like in the instance that Wyloch had to roll a defense that could have messed him up on there. All of you failed. Right? Is that what I'm saying? Oh, you didn't roll yet.
Mine hasn't gone up yet.
That's right. Take your time.
Every so often I hit the button and the thing doesn't appear on...
Yeah.
Did you say 4 or 5?
4. Perfect. Remember that time you asked about The Walking Dead and whether they might be real or not? You're pretty sure they are. As you see, you go north, and everyone starts to veer out of this thing. You break the plane of the building, and you see one of the, what you expected to be corpses shift upward. The weird thing you see with that bonus little crit there is that their skin, or what is left of them, or even their bone, or whatever, makes for their body, is turning a strange shade of blue. Almost an identical shade of blue to the cloak you're wearing. Weird, huh? And they begin to lurch forward. And I'll say with an 18, you notice that they lurch forward, and the ones you can see that are shambling and on their feet seem to be moving towards you and you alone, Zariff.
I see this happening, and I hold up my pane of glass, looking at the ones that are advancing.
And you activate it?
Yeah?
Are you sure?
So
what's the chances he's gonna roll a 1?
You didn't seem confident about that activation.
So what I'm
16.5%.
You know what? I'm hesitating, and I'm looking to Silica.
Run.
I think running is like, because there's a lot of these mummies. they don't seem fast.
I mean,
they gives us information.
Yeah, I mean, you've only seen the area you've walked through, right? So you've probably walked by maybe in the vein of 20, and they don't seem to be, they're not running at the same speed in which you are, but they're not like Romero shamblers, right? They're moving relatively quickly, just not at the same speed as your full sprint.
They're not the Flash, but they're not shamblers.
This isn't like 28 days later or whatever. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that it's important to know what kind of
zombie we're dealing with. Yeah, I know for sure.
So, I would say we could try to take out however many are here between the three of us. If we focus our efforts, we'll probably do okay. But it might very quickly become overwhelming. So we're gonna just have to there might be a point where we just got to break for it.
If we're running faster than they're moving, we're getting further and further away. What value is there to stand and fight?
Not much. So I'm up for running, but we don't know that they won't continue to pursue and that their numbers will grow at that point. Is all I'm saying. So
the other areas
as I'm speed walking towards the north, I guess, while we're having this discourse, we are moving away from the danger area. We're not just chilling.
The other areas didn't seem littered with bodies, so I doubt they're going to collect more as they pursue. Just saying.
I think we're out.
So back to Wyloch, holding that glass. Are you activating it?
So Zariff has screamed run, and Silica's making pace. Okay, so I still have it sort of in my cloak, but I'm following.
Okay.
There are dead bodies.
Cool.
I think we're making the mental connection that there's something to do with the insidious fire here. I don't know if we need to risk using your device here. If we can, not Silica personally, but
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
You guys are pretty smart.
In the meta, yes, that's what I was thinking too.
What do you mean? Cool. So you guys begin to book it. I need everyone to make me a speed defense 4, please. Silica, you have an asset because you have your shield out.
Sweet. Glad I took that out way back when.
Yes.
Also, I have an Arri shield. I mean, I don't know.
You can't dual shield. I mean, you can dual shield. You just don't have an attack.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you don't have the bash ability, which means you can just hold shields and just be like, no, please. Don't hit me, I'm small. All right, cool. So, Zariff, what would you like to be your extreme success here?
I want to find an alleyway that goes in the direction that we want to go, and we're able to get into that section and avoid pursuit.
Okay, cool. So you all make a break for it as more of these bodies are lurching up off of the ground in their various states of desecration, or desiccation, rather. You all dodge various hands groping out towards you. It's easier for some of you as they seem to be lunging towards Zariff and only going for you as a means to get by you and towards him. Zariff, you expertly maneuver away from one who seems to have been fused to one of the walls of the towers as it peels itself off and lunges towards you. You quickly dodge out of the way as it crumples and sort of, you feel like you hear a snap behind you as it sort of crumples on the ground and a puff of this blue plume of something explodes out of it as you guys break the plane of the towers and are expelled into the neighboring district, still not feeling this whatever barrier that Wyloch felt when he first walked through. Wyloch, I'm not sure if you would notice it, given that you are running for your life, or be thinking about it to try to be like, oh, I remember this barrier here. But you felt it on the way in. You all kind of burst through. Do you keep running, or do you wait to see if you're still being pursued?
I keep running.
Cool. And you guys are running in the direction of Wyloch's north senses?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Towards that hole in the crenellation.
Sure. So you guys... Go ahead.
Did I feel the fizzy or not?
I don't think you would have noticed, given that you're running for your life. If you'd like to have, taken a second, you can roll me an intelligence check, difficulty 4, followed by a speed defense, difficulty 4.
If I didn't know where it was a metaphysical boundary, right? If I didn't know where it was, then I don't think I have a reason to do that.
You felt it when you passed between the towers. That's really all you had.
The same sensation as when we came in.
Yeah.
So I did feel it.
Well, sorry. On the way in, you felt it. On the way out, you didn't. I don't think you were thinking about it, given the fact that you were running from zombies.
Yeah, I just keep running. I follow since. Yeah.
Cool. So you guys begin to run through this district, far less quiet than previous. The strange thing is, the moment you pass through the towers, you no longer hear, blaring klaxons. It's almost as if there is some kind of noise dampening something happening, and you don't hear it at all.
So if we cross that barrier, the sound stops. Run for 30 seconds to a minute, and if I still don't hear it and I don't see pursuit, then we can kind of stop and regroup.
I don't even think I would have ran for that long. As soon as it stopped, I probably would have stopped. I'd have been like, because that's such a jarring noise.
Yep, and you hear as if like someone earmuffed you, right?
As soon as it's gone, I probably would have stopped and turned and just been like, what? Because my experience with Numenera is incredibly limited to these little ciphers. This is a big deal to just have going from on switch to off switch in the course of a couple of steps.
Yes, sure. But silence is not the only thing that's going to stop things. So I will proceed beyond that that silence, because things could still pursue. So
yeah. So Zariff continues to run. Silica, you stop, jarred by the lack of noise, almost as jarred as you were by the cacophony of noise, and you realize that it has stopped. You do turn around to look behind you.
I would glance behind, to see what in the world is going on. I don't know where Wyloch is in all of this. If he's if they're leaving me behind, I want to make sure I don't lose them.
Okay, so you take a quick glance back, right? And in that glance, you can see that the corpses, as far as you would call them, are almost forming a shield wall. They seem to not be going past like an invisible barrier. They seem to have stopped between the towers, and they are no longer pursuing you. But they just seem to be amassing there and watching you as you flee.
How far away is she from them?
From them? I don't know what.
Not that far.
Yeah, like 10 feet maybe.
Yeah.
As like if you're running, it's the amount of feet it takes for you to slow down and be like, what the fuck? So I'd say like maybe 10, max 15 feet before you were slowed down and were able to glance back.
I'm not going to hang out to see if they're going to break through, but I will try to remember that this is a thing that happened and report that to Zariff and Wyloch when I catch back up with them, because they have slipped it past me quite a ways, it seems like.
So Wyloch, as the last person running, you would have passed Silica. Would you have passed Silica?
I'm kind of a similar mind. If the sound stopped, then that would have jarred me, and I would have probably checked my back and seen the same thing. I see what's happening there, and I make I think I make the connection that the entire district is contained. I felt it when we came in.
I'm like,
so
Zariff,
and then I walk back up. I sort of walk up real close, maybe 2 feet away from them, and I'm just sort of studying them.
Okay.
I'm just like, so he's moving back towards them, which I am less okay with.
Sure.
So I'm like backing him up now, because I'm like, okay, I was fine when we were just looking, but now he's getting closer to them. That makes me uncomfortable.
So I would imagine by this time I've reached my stop point.
Yeah, you've run like another 30 seconds out, and then you realize you don't hear the pitter patter of running people behind you, and you glance back, and your allies are gone. You assume it was a straight shot back to where they were, but they did not follow you.
All right, so I will slowly work my way back, trying to find them.
Okay, it's fairly easy. You're a good navigator, and you know the direction you run. But you stumble in on a scene that looks like Silica, shield out, arm blade extended, advancing on a shield wall, and you see Wyloch just sort of Wylocking towards the wall, examining the corpses, the continuously amassing corpses, as if they are intrigued by them.
I look back over my shoulder at Silica and the returning Zariff, and I say, I feel the need to conduct an experiment. This technology may exist further on. For to encounter it, we should know what it's capable of. And then without a second thought, I throw off my cloak and weave together a bolt of energy, and I cast Onslaught at the wall of dudes to see if it's going to go through this barrier, whatever this barrier is, or if it isn't. So I'm casting Onslaught and doing the physical version of it.
Okay, difficulty 4.
Okay, whoops. Okay, so
Hello.
4. Do some effort.
Zariff is not pleased with us at this point.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Cool. So you're trying to make a short-range ray of force damage. Cool. So you sort of get there, you channel your mental energy, and what does it look like as you use Onslaught on the amassing border of corpses?
Very similar to the first 4 times I tried it and failed. I really just want to succeed at this once.
Yeah.
And they're right in front of, they're not moving. I can't fail.
Yeah.
My eyes go white. I hold out my hands straight to the side and then bring them together like to form a thunderclap. And as I do, the bolt sears out towards them.
Sure. And it does. It passes through the invisible barrier that you felt when you walked in and clears a column as these things get like forced to the side and sort of stumble and bump into each other. And like rushing water, they all just sort of form back in on each other. But your physical force did some kind of damage to them, and you can actually see where it struck a few of them as they've kind of intermingled back into a mass of corpses. You see that there is some physical damage, although it's hard to tell since they were already corpses when you found them. But it did seem to have some effect.
But they did not cross the barrier?
They did not.
I look over my shoulder and say, good to know.
So that was worth risking your life over?
Wyloch certainly thinks so.
Science is worth everything.
All right, before our mad scientist gets any more crazy harebrained ideas on experiments he'd like to conduct here, I want to grab him and Arri and follow Zariff, who at this point is probably just beside himself with. And we should continue on our way. Like, we have probably narrowly escaped
something, right? I know. Weird.
So now we're the crazy uncles who have claimed have seen the undead, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My cousin's uncle's friend's brother saw the corpses, and you guys saw them too. So when you saw them, they turned blue. Weird. So where are you guys headed? Still back towards the north direction that Wyloch felt the pull?
Yes, sir.
Dope.
Wherever Zariff leads.
Cool. I would like a searching or navigation of some kind roll. We'll call it from where you are now, I'll call it a difficulty 5, because you only have a vague sense of direction where you're going. Had you been navigating from the tower you found, it would have been a better shot towards the north.
I made a note to be able to, like, my plan was to go to the towers and then to go to there.
Okay,
so
cool.
Can I call that an asset?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, what we'll do is, instead of calling that an asset, if you're going back to the tower and then navigating north from there, then we'll say it's a difficulty 4. Yeah, if you're going from a frame of reference point, you can easily knock that down 1. It's just going to increase your time.
So much time.
You have got to be flipping kidding me!
Wow, 10.
You did just get an XP from Silica.
I mean, why should I keep blowing them? They're just going to keep showing up. So go ahead.
GM intrusions are fun. Trust me.
I mean, they're great for me. Okay, cool. So you navigate your way back to the tower. That's fairly easy. The benefit to GM intrusions is they take any kind of number of forms. Cool. So you navigate your way back to the tower. That's relatively easy. As you begin moving towards the northern direction, I assume, Silica, are you back head on a swivel looking for moving things?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're in moving detail. So I assume Wyloch's in the middle, Zariff's up front. I'm behind with Arri, and I'm keeping lookout.
Cool. Yeah, so you guys begin to approach the northern direction, the northern crenellation where this hole was. And Zariff, describe to me how you guys are picking your way through the city.
I mean, we're trying to, move stealthy, move with caution. I don't think we got as much time in the noble area as I would have liked. So I'm trying to look for, something that might be a last minute possibility that'll give us some kind of advantage. I don't think Wyloch really had time to discuss, hey, I found a thing. So I still think we haven't found anything worthwhile yet. And I need to get resources if we're going to succeed on our mission.
All right, awesome. So yeah, you guys begin to move towards the north. And are you moving quickly or are you moving quietly?
Quietly.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear. So yeah, you guys move quietly. You're continuing to look around, Zariff, in hopes that you may find something at least relatively useful, right? Which is great because not only do you not find that, but instead you find. Let me show you this cool monster. Hold on.
Oh.
It's gonna be great, guys. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be cool. I promise. Pinky swear. Come on, upload. There we go. You guys find this really cool monster right here. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, pretty cool, right? So you are looking around, the two of you. So Wyloch, you're kind of following Zariff's lead. Silica, you're kind of looking around. And at the last second, Silica, you hear this shuffle, like almost like a rock gets kicked over. And what you see at first is what you assume to be one of the blue corpses has broken free of its barrier or something, but it's doing this strange crab walk towards you, almost like the Grudge walking down the stairs, where it's like clickety clackety and twitchy as it's moving all the way down there, and you see its head like click back and almost spin right around, and you hear just every like crunching bone move as it moves towards you, and it just seems to be crab walking directly towards your group. And it is that point where you see, almost Aliens-esque, its stomach begin to bulge and bubble, and then you hear this wet, like, splotching noise as something erupts from it, and you see what looks to be a scorpion tail with the face of a child on it, and a massive maw, and these tendrils and arms just sort of maneuvering out of this thing. And it is at this point that it dawns on you that the three of you recall Devola bioengineering things and being a scientist, and you feel like the creatures that you saw before might be her creations as it moves towards you, and the maw opens up and you hear as it begins to charge this crab walk towards you guys. We'll go with Silica first. Silica, what are you doing as you see this thing charging towards you?
So here's the thing. My shield is still at the ready. My arm bracer is always at the ready. I would like to try a diplomacy because I am an agent of Devola. You guys are laughing at me. You guys are laughing at me.
Yep. Go ahead.
So basically, I will yell at it that I am an agent of Devola just to see what happens, while also, I don't know if there's such a thing as readying an action, but I would like to ready an action in case that does not work.
Okay. There is no there is a ready action, but your diplomacy would be your action.
My action.
I laugh because of the vile description I just gave, and you're like, I'm going to talk to it. Okay. Okay, yeah. Cool. So I will give you. Oh, hot damn! I don't
know how attached.
Yeah.
I know she's not super attached.
Yeah, no, it makes absolute sense to me. Makes absolute sense. Would totally make sense as not only a Silica move, but given the fact that you have a mind slug attached to your spine. So yeah, make me.
I'm not crazy.
Make me.
You are. She already told you that you're nothing but food.
That is true. She did tell you she would happily feed you to her clutch. So make me a difficulty 6 intelligence, and you can use your ability to have pleasant conversation.
Difficulty 6?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not gonna exert an effort.
You don't think so?
Probably. No, we'll just see how this goes. Oh, you know what? Well.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So again, you see this weird, strange, clicking, bone-snapping crab walk moving towards you as if galloping upside down. We'll give Wyloch a chance to attack or do something. Wyloch, you see this thing, this abomination leaping towards you. What are you doing?
Is it leaping towards us in general or Silica?
It seems to be running towards you. It was a good distance away. It seems to be just galloping towards the three of you. It doesn't seem like it's picked a target yet.
Okay. I'm still getting sort of tweaked, and I'm getting shades of my my moment of clarity earlier, feeling confident. So from my cloak, I pull out what looks like a railroad spike.
Okay.
There's a button in the end, sort of like a pen.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a reality spike.
Okay.
So once activated, it does not move ever, even if activated in midair, like it freezes in time. But I think it's just like a dagger, and I'm trained in using a dagger. So I am going to run at this thing head on, and I'm going to try and stab it with this. And if successful, I'm going to push the button and hopefully pin it in place in space, which should make it much easier for us. That's what I want to try to do. That
is awesome, sir.
Okay, go for it.
Wow, that is so cool.
Absolutely go for it. So it will be a difficulty. It'll be difficulty 5, might, or whatever your attack is.
Okay, so I'm gonna use my dagger attack.
Mm-hmm.
Skill. Oh boy, I really wish I had trained in this when I leveled up.
So your dagger is a light weapon, which means you get an asset.
Oh, okay.
We'll count this reality spike as a light weapon also.
Okay, so I'm definitely using effort. We got an asset, no bonus. Damage, don't care. Here we go.
Okay, dope. So describe to me what it looks like as you charge this thing and pierce it with your reality spike.
Yeah, it's lumbering towards us, but again, I throw off my cloak and I start sprinting as fast as I can. I've got the reality spike in my hand. I leap forward. While I'm at it, I cast hedge magic, so there's doves behind me like John Woo.
Sure, absolutely.
And, through the air, and I aim right for this thing's. Let's see. There's so much of it. I can't really go after the face of a child, so at the neck, the blue part, and lodge it in the neck.
Okay, like the scorpion tail?
Yeah.
That part of it? Okay, cool.
Yep. And as I do, I push the button to lock the spike in space-time, and hopefully it along with that.
Okay.
Daggers
awesome.
do 2 damage?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, sure. We'll do 2 damage to it. With your reality spike. So yeah, you stab it through what looks to be its intestine tail. You pierce it through this thing, and you see it almost like a dog on a leash as it's like, and it yanks, and it's locked in place. And you see the legs and arms kind of sprawl out as it slowly picks itself back up as it's like with those bone-breaking noises, and you hear the maw on it again at you, and the tendrils and the arms that are attached to its sternum stem sort of swing out at you. And Zariff, you will get an attack on this thing before it is able to do something. What would you like to do?
When I heard the scream, of just completely unnatural. My bow is out, and I've got an arrow knocked, and I'm firing right towards the center where this thing kind of comes out of the body.
Sure.
Do I get any kind of bonus since it's now locked in place by
So
not
I
a
would
moving target anymore,
so
right?
I would say it would be easier for you to hit at melee, but at ranged the entire thing is flailing, so it's difficult to aim for that pinpoint.
Okay.
If you're aiming for like that specific area, I'm not going to give you the bonus for it. So it would be a archery 4 or archery 5. I'm sorry, 5. Bet.
So do we get the sense that this is kind of two creatures in one then? Because it seems like the scorpion part has locked in space-time, but like the lower portion in some parts are still moving?
So the way the reality spike works, that's you don't get that sense. The way the reality spike works is the spike is locked in time. So he stabbed it through the neck. So whatever it's connected to, it's locked. So the spike itself cannot move. And because it's through the neck, it now cannot move away from that. So well, maybe not you, but someone here is smart enough to know that if it dislodges itself from the spike, it may regain the ability to move because the spike doesn't like latch out with claws or keep it there anyway. But currently it's snarling and trying to figure that out. It doesn't look like it's a smart monster, so it could be a few rounds and it could be dead by then. You're not entirely sure, but you feel like it's like if I stabbed your hand to a desk, if you get your hand out of the knife, you can regain movement, right?
So after I shoot, am I able to like get behind any rubble that might be cover?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of you spin out one of those patent pended Zariff arrows, and then you kind of dodge roll behind some clutter, some refuse there. Making sure to look and make sure there's no corpse next to you as you tumble into this thing.
I finished my thing in a somersault and landed on my knee, and then I threw a wink toward Arri.
Did you stick the landing? Arri stands there confused.
Can we use Arri here?
You cannot. Nope.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, snap.
Yep. That is the benefit of me not penalizing anyone for absences. You do not get to use them. They travel with you as a ghost until they reappear. That's my neutral stance on absent players. I won't hold it against them, but no one gets a bonus. So I think Wyloch, you're still pretty much right next to it, and Silica, you're not, right? Because you didn't run up to it. So the only person...
No, I know, I just yelled at it.
Yeah. So the only person in threat range of this thing is currently Wyloch, because he stood there, stabbed it, and then stood there. Cool. So this thing lashes out at you, and you see all of its tendrils sort of like spin and move towards you in an attempt to sort of grab you. And as you're kind of focusing up here on the tendrils, at the last second, you look down and you see that the maw is snapping up with its like longer than normal neck up at your leg. Roll me a speed defense 5.
You got that, Kenny?
I was just thinking, I was trying to find a way to help.
Oh, wait. Am I
Besides
supposed
yelling
to
at
do
it? Yeah, you roll a speed defense 5.
What's Silica doing?
It's not her turn.
So I was just thinking of a way to help. I was trying, but I have nothing.
Did you not get a turn?
It's the monster's turn.
No,
she yelled at it.
She talked to it.
She tried to convince it she was a friend.
Okay, so...
It didn't go well.
She's like, we could braid hair and paint your nails.
You have so many nails.
Sorry, maybe I didn't finish earlier. So, I mean, I stabbed it and I did that heroic thing and everything, and my momentum kept. I'm not staying near it.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
To, like, tack the thing in place.
And then keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. In that case, man, that means I have to roll. What did you roll? You rolled a 15 to dagger this thing. Okay, I'm going to write that down. So, 15. So, I am going to roll 1d20, and I need a 15 to break free of your... to pull this thing out of me. /R 1d20. Nope, I did not get it. So you see this thing gnashing where it's sort of tendrils are moving around, its arms and legs are kind of kicking out as it leaps in the air and tries to reach out towards one of you. That's its turn. It goes back to Silica. It doesn't want to talk.
It doesn't. I get the feeling that it's not in a sociable mood. So it's still a ways in front of me because Wyloch, with his mastery of reality spikes, has stopped it clean in its tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to kind of pull a shadow move on that, and basically he had spiked it and then kind of used his momentum to roll out of the way. I want to go in and try to behead the lower maw. That's like the humanoid type looking one, and kind of not slide under it in such a, but like
you want to slide past it,
across it. So I'm not moving we're not head on jousting. I'm moving across.
Okay, so you want to Dukes of Hazzard the neck off of this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, roll for it.
Exactly.
I can tell you that you'll do damage if you hit it, but without like a crit or something, you're not going to be able to behead this thing. So hope for a 20.
Okay, I will do that. And the difficulty is 5 or
Yep,
6?
5.
5. Exerting effort.
And you use your weapon, not might. Right?
Yeah.
So you click that button next to your weapon, not the button next to might.
Oh,
So that you get your specialized bonus or whatever.
Either one works. You just got to calculate it yourself.
I don't have a special thing for that. And then I get an asset because that's my arm brace.
Because it's light weapon.
It's a light weapon. Yep.
All the things. All right. Well.
Yeah, if you build out the actual weapon in your thing, it does the calculations for you. Or you can do it manually. It doesn't really matter either way. So yeah, you... now, I'm going to give you this one.
Also, that was an attack flourish because I was doing something cool.
Okay, dope. Cool, so how do you flip over this thing, Dukes of Hazzard style, and slice at its throat?
So there seems to be some like rubble on the ground, perhaps. So while Wyloch was going head on, I was like doing a swoop around maneuver and just... Because I don't want to try to move past it because it's got all these hands, but that maw seems to have like a really long neck. So I was going at it and just sliding Dukes of Hazzard across the ground, like a kind of like you're coming into home base, like a home base slide.
I like
and
it.
Right into the neck with my forearm bracer.
Absolutely. So you slide across and you cut into it and you feel this like, well, you don't feel it. It doesn't spray out, but this like disgusting ichor just kind of leaks out of it and like is like thickly staining the floor beneath it. And Spaceman Coco in chat says, talk harder at it, Silica.
I saw that. It's like, you're just not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Speak more aggressively. As you slice this thing, it like gnashes out towards you as you tumble away from it. That brings us to Wyloch. You are now behind the creature as your momentum carried you past it.
And my attack flourish gives you a
bonus. I think it's an asset.
An asset.
Right. So I'm continuing my momentum, slowly taking a couple steps backwards, and I queue up a volcano class onslaught.
Go for it.
We're going to go with physical version.
Okay.
Again.
Sure. I like it.
Difficulty?
Still 5. And you have an asset from Silica's awesome badassery.
That's the technical term.
There's a doctorate in badass.
Okay. So we haven't done this before. So for sake of learning,
sure,
I can do effort to the roll or effort to damage, but not both.
Correct. You may only use effort once per turn. Unfortunately, you are not successful. As you kind of round on this thing and you prepare, your eyes go white, you force your hands forward and you begin to go for your clap. And as you go to clap, the almost drowns out your concentration, and like a bad cymbalist, you kind of clap and it goes off center and it does not actually force the blast out of your hand. However,
I'm never going to hit anything.
You hit the zombies that weren't moving.
That's true. You totally hit those zombies. That does bring us to Zariff's turn.
And I've got Firefox not responding, so I am attempting to shoot an arrow at this thing using Silica's badassedness. And
what I can do is I can roll for you if your stuff's not responding.
Yeah, so that's fine. I'm running out of speed in my pool, but I will expend effort.
Okay, so let's reduce your pool by 2.
I am trained in bow.
Yep, you're using bow pierce 1, I assume that's your attack?
Yes, sir.
And difficulty is 5. And you have you're spending 1 effort and 0 effort to damage, and that should be higher by 1. It's a success anyway.
Yay.
Cool. So you succeed, and an arrow is buried into. Where are you aiming for this time?
Well, I'm trying to see if I can keep hitting that middle section and possibly rip this thing into 2 pieces. I got 100-point arrows that are designed for taking down all kinds of game.
Sure. I like it. So yeah, so you're aiming for that same midsection to try to split the tail from the chest of this creature. I like it. So again, almost with pinpoint accuracy, it sinks in almost right next to, almost touching the previous arrow into the gut of this person. Silica, how far did your travels past this monster take you, would you say?
Probably like 5 feet, 6 feet.
Okay.
Not like super far because I'm sliding across. Again, it's like home plate, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't like how you're saying that.
What do you mean?
But so, yeah, so like 5 to 6 feet.
Okay.
But I'm low down. I'm low to the ground. I'm in forward momentum movement.
Okay, cool. So you see, as you kind of slide in a cool pose, you see this thing with its bones all creaking and breaking. It stands up to its full 6 foot and change humanoid height, with its sternum tail sort of still stuck in place, and it rotates towards you, and you see this long neck sort of lurch back, almost like a snake about to strike, and you hear this, and this vitriol just sort of expels from its mouth directly towards you. Please go ahead and roll me a speed defense 5.
And I can use my shield. And I would actually... Oh.
You have an asset with a shield for sure.
Does she get some kind of bonus because this is going to mess up her clothes even more?
I
feel so motivated to keep my clothes. I don't know. I think that actually makes all of her attacks more difficult in the future, because her clothes are dirty. It works both ways.
Yeah.
So here's what I would like to do is, since I'm sliding across the ground, I think I'm going to use balancing instead of trying to shield block this. Instead of because it's a projectile vomit, basically. It sounds like, instead of trying to block this with my shield, I think I'd rather, because I am trained as a gymnast, I would rather try to tumble out of the way.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll let you use balancing, but you do not get an asset for your shield.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm
cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Roll for it.
Cool. Did you say it was 4?
I did not. I said it was 5. Good try though.
I wasn't trying to pull one. I'm going to exert the effort.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yay.
Cool. Right. So describe to me how you dodge out of the way of this vomit.
So I'm home run sliding. I hear this noise and I see out of the corner of my eye like the cobra spit, and it's like, okay, I've seen like animal handlers, like I know something bad is coming. So I'm sliding. I catch myself on the ground with my hand to swing 90 degrees. It thought I was going to continue forward momentum, and I just took a 90-degree turn.
Perfect. And you hear, with a wet slap, like when you wet a napkin and throw it at the ceiling when you're in elementary school, it just hits the ground. And then immediately you smell this acrid, burning smell as right where you just were, and perhaps even the stone you just used to bank that 90-degree turn begins to melt and corrode where it was. It's your turn.
It's got acid. I yell back to my friends who should probably know that this thing spits acid.
Yeah. It is your turn.
How far did the acid travel?
At least 5 to 6 feet as far as Silica was away. But you could, if you so choose, spend your turn analyzing the angle and trajectory of the neck versus the velocity of the spit.
So did that come out of the lower mouth, the snake body mouth?
It came out of the humanoid. It came out of the humanoid mouth. It stood up.
I mean, because this thing has 3, maybe. This thing has 3, maybe 4 mouths.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I gotta be sure here.
It came out of the humanoid mouth. The one that's on the picture. The one that's the lowest mouth. It stood up to its full human height, and then launched its head back and spit it out. So yes.
So, all right, never mind.
I don't know if I can draw on the picture, but yeah, the human face is where it came out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Silica, it is your turn.
Oh, back to me. Wait, how does that? Oh, okay, that was its.
It goes last.
Right, it goes last. So I just made my 90-degree turn as it sat this acid at me. I'm going to look for cover because I don't think my shield. It just melted like solid rock. What is my shield gonna do for me?
That's fair.
So I'm going to look to take cover.
Okay.
And look to see if I have some sort of. I have 3 spikes, which I will use as projectile weapons because I'm practice in all weapons and armor, and I will use these spikes as weapons.
Okay. Now your spikes, are they like darts? What do they look like?
So it's part of my explorer's pack. So I assume they're actually like ice pick type.
Oh yeah, they're
spikes.
like pythons. Yeah. Sure.
So they are heavy. So I'm basically going to like throwing knife and use them as my weapon because I don't actually have a ranged weapon.
Okay.
But I don't want to get close to this thing necessarily. I want to keep my cover.
Okay.
So I'm going to take those out of my pack and I guess I'll just throw one at a time. I don't know. I don't know how ranged combat works.
Sure. Yeah. We'll do one at a time. So for improvised weapon, for improvising something that, especially that's not a weapon, we'll call them 1 damage for those things. Okay. So yeah, you can make the same difficulty 5. I almost want to say might for thrown weapon.
Right.
The strength at which you can throw it rather than the speed at which you can throw it. Yeah, so a difficulty 5 might. And are you trained in all items?
So I have a no need. That's for an unarmed attack. And I am practiced in all weapons and armor.
Okay. So that's the weird thing with Numenera. Practiced means you can use anything. Trained means you get a bonus to it. Specialized means you get the bonus to it. Yeah, so you roll as normal. Yep, so just roll a normal might. Damage will be 1, so you can apply effort as necessary.
Do I get any sort of bonus for my ingenuity?
You don't.
Okay,
no.
Well, it's always good to ask.
It is always good to ask. Describe to me how you throw and embed like what looks to be a railroad spike in the hide of this man creature.
This thing has been like riding on my lower back this whole adventure. I know exactly where these things are. So I reach in with my hand that does not have a blade on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually throwing these left-handed, so it's even more impressive.
Okay, cool.
And I just like straight up disc golf type overhand chuck right into. I want to actually, if I am in a position where I can try to continue to force it into that reality spike because it's trying to struggle against that, I want to give it opposing force so that it continues to have trouble with that.
Okay, so what we'll do is that can be one of your minor crits if you get a minor crit. So for now, you wham it into it, and it wasn't enough force to force it in any specific direction, but it definitely like sticks into him and then kind of falls out of him because it's not like a sharp weapon, right? It's not like not meant for that. So it kind of jams into him, and you see it like kind of wobble, and then thunk, hits the ground, which is easily recoverable.
Is that with a flourish?
I was left-handed. You should be.
That's true. It was left-handed. That's true. So we'll call it impressive with her ambidextrousness. Wyloch, that makes it your turn. You have an asset for Professor Badass, hiding behind the rubble, throwing railroad spikes.
Right. Roleplay. Onslaught.
Yep.
There we go. 5. Effort. Yes, please.
And an asset.
Yes, please. No bonus. No.
You hit, and you're using the physical one, right?
Yes. Hallelujah.
Okay, so if the attack is physical, you deal 4 points of damage. If the attack is mental, you deal 2 points of damage. Okay, cool. So it hits. Now you get to roleplay and describe what it looks like.
I basically shrugged off my earlier. I had a really annoyed look on my face, but then I did the exact same thing again. That eyes go white, thunderclap, energy bolt.
Dope. I like it. And this thing, boom, now that it's standing up full, you have a much larger, less writhing target. And boom, you hit it in center mass, right where the tail comes out of the organs of this thing. And it sort of recoils back, and you see it, and it is now back down on all fours. You seem to have knocked it from its standing position back down into its reverse crab walk. Zariff, it is your turn. You are lining up a shot as you see it bend backwards. How do you take this shot?
I'm doing my same tactic. I'm trying to cut this thing in half, and apparently because it bent back down, my arrow winds up going wide.
Yeah, so you were aiming for a specific spot, and you were about to loose that as you see it bend backwards, and it was just enough for it to skim right by. This thing is going to attempt to break free of this of its bindings here. So let's see here. Roll 1d20, not d1000. That's not what I need. 1d20. 16. So you see as it like rips itself free the child head and the part of this scorpion tail separate from the actual tail itself, and you see it flop to the ground and begin to writhe. And then using the weird, like, claw things at its chin begin to slowly move towards the body of the creature attacking you. This thing sucks back into it, this scorpion tail, as it begins to stand up, and it lumbers towards the only person it can really see, which is Wyloch. Wyloch is moving towards you, but will be unable to attack you. Silica, it is your turn. You have seen this thing move and break free of its reality spike. The reality spike is still standing firm in the middle of the air.
Actually, sorry to be obnoxious. That actually destroys it. If you use the might action to break free, that destroys the reality spike.
Okay, cool. So you see it like deactivate and like dunk, 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 and hit the ground, and you see it is null at this point.
Oh, John, I was gonna try to like, I don't know, maybe stick it back on there, but that's not that I could. Where's Arri when you need Arri?
Right.
Still dreaming. All right, so it's now free and
yes, and lumbering towards Wyloch.
Lumbering towards Wyloch. This thing doesn't seem particularly agile.
No.
I mean, it was galloping, it was fast,
mm-hmm.
but it's clunky.
Yeah, standing up on 2 feet seems less effective than when it is on all 4.
Right. So I would like to tie some rope real quick to one of these railroad spikes, and I want to basically like bolo to its feet to try to trip it up.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's going for Wyloch, and I don't want it to do that.
Sure. Yeah.
So
difficulty.
I want to try to get it prone.
Absolutely. Difficulty 5.
Okay.
No assets for this one. I don't think, despite your weapons training, I don't think makeshift bolo with railroad spike is something you're extremely proficient in.
Probably not.
Yeah. You don't seem like a lasso kind of girl.
I never spent a lot of time in the country.
Yeah. So you get it, you get the knot on there nice, and you start to swing this through, but you're not entirely sure, like, maybe Zariff might have been a better choice to use this, having grappling hook experience, but you kind of loose it, and it goes just shy of where you need it to go, but you quickly reel it back in for a second attempt on your next turn. However, that brings us to Wyloch as this thing lumbers towards you, its upper head kind of lolling about on this long neck. You see its fanged teeth sort of towards you.
Run. I run towards Silica.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So you just sort of dodge out of the way of its lurching body and you move towards Silica. Are you going to... You can move and attack. Would you like to also attempt an onslaught on this thing?
Oh, if I can do both, then yeah, sure.
Sure.
Just in passing onslaught.
Yeah.
No asset this time.
Nope. Dope. So you do a drive-by onslaught. What does this one look like as you are moving as it happens?
This is like in Captain America Civil War, where Iron Man his watch opens up and he's hitting guys in the lobby. So I'm just like running away, kind of.
Yeah,
like when you're trying to bat away your sibling or something.
With full white eyes and blind sight as you're just sort of blasting this, running towards the vague direction you know Silica is. Perfect. You see it lurch and sort of topple back over. And as it topples over, Zariff, you see its head snap up and sort of twist, and as it begins to slowly crawl towards you, it is your turn to attack. What would you like to do?
I'm going to send a thing right at the creature's neck.
Go for it. The gangly maneuvers and just like the twitchy nature of this thing, it's unpredictable and difficult to get a bead on a specific thing like that stretched out neck. As it maneuvers its head and it just goes right by. You see a little trickle of this coagulated liquid leak out of it, but not enough to deal any lasting damage as it moves towards you. And
it's moving towards me?
Yeah. He knocked it back. So it is now moving. It sees you as you are aiming a shot at it.
Well, can I move further back and behind other cover?
Yes.
I want to. Like, if this thing isn't moving fast, if I can keep out of its. I out of its range is probably going to be best for me.
So you're smart enough to know that it was slow on 2 feet and rather quick on 4 feet. You're pretty sure you could outmaneuver it on 2 feet. You're not entirely sure how fast it moves on 4 feet, but you move enough of a distance away that you are able to, in your turn, and hope that you are far enough away from this thing to get away.
Yep.
Cool. So this thing stops and cracks its neck and moves around. And you see it lurch forward and back down the other way, so it's now crawling on its its stomach is facing down, and you see its neck twist and turn and lurch down, and when it reels its head back in, the scorpion-like neck of the baby head is in its maw, and it is swallowing whole this strange baby head. That ends its turn, whatever the hell that did. Silica, it's your turn.
My parents always told me not to put strange things in your mouth. So I am going to share that wisdom with this guy. Instead of trying to slow it down with my bolo attempt, I am going to take my blade and retract it, and I'm going to go up and try to punch it in the back of the head with an unarmed strike.
Okay.
Which counts as a medium attack as opposed to a light attack.
Okay.
Yes.
So might no asset for that one.
Okay.
Meaning she doesn't give an asset, or
she doesn't get an asset because it's a medium weapon.
Okay. But this is certainly flashy and impressive.
I want to show off here.
Sure.
So get that out of your mouth.
Mama Silica says.
Son of a...
So as you go to impact with this thing, being this close up and now seeing its back, this is probably the first time you've really got a good look at it. You are about to strike true on the back of its head, and you recoil at the last second as you see that from the base of its head, from the base of its neck, all the way down to its tailbone are these nodules of these just jutting spikes down its spine, similar to the things that these things are on the baby's mouth, and you see and it is lurching, almost like dry heaving in reverse, as you stand next to this thing. I assume you get the hell out of there, right? You don't want to be close to this thing.
Yeah, I side roll, side dodge away, right out of that situation.
Cool.
Back into, if there is close enough cover.
Sure. Yeah, so you get a short distance away. That brings us to Wyloch's turn. Wyloch, you see this thing lurching and swallowing this thing and dry heaving in reverse. What are you doing?
Yeah, I see Silica running, so I scream, "Get down!" And then bolt of energy goes wide into the black abyss above.
Okay, so
Not
you are
me, which is important.
Right. That's the good thing. So yeah, you are so taken aback by the sight you see, and the fact that she's running and that you need to run. You kind of your aim's off a little bit, and you sort of and you do take off running towards this thing. Zariff, it is your turn.
Well, I'm gonna get a beat on this thing. It seems that the back legs, are going to be its legs when it's standing up, and if I can disable those things, maybe it's not going to be able to move or move as well. So I'm going to start going towards that tactic.
Okay, I like it. Aiming for the legs. Success. 5 damage on this thing. Okay, cool. Cool. So you just sort of swing, and it hits you in the calf of its right leg, and you see it kind of lurch in its strange maneuver. On its turn, it stands, and you can see that it's a little ungangly on that leg that you just pierced through with this thing. It turns towards where Silica and Wyloch are, and you both have full view of the cavernous hole in its stomach where this thing scorpioned out of, and you see that its ribs, or where its ribs would be, you assume, are more like a maw in itself, and it has a gaping mouth where its stomach should be, and you see it begin to lumber towards you, and then you see it kind of lower itself down and begin to sprint towards you. And as it does, you see its arm begin to split down the center, and both of its arms sort of split into four, and then it becomes like these strange tendrils that form between in its pseudo armpit as it runs towards you. And it leaps, and both of you need to make a speed defense 5.
I would like to flip out of the way with
Okay.
my balancing.
Balancing, you want to get the hell out of there? Cool.
Hell
Thanks.
yeah.
Wyloch, you can panic as a free action.
Sorry. You almost hit me with that onslaught, right?
Could have been a 1.
Oh,
Dope.
actually, can I take Wyloch with me?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Can I take Wyloch with me as my minor effect? Can I at least push him? Can I backflip into him? Can I trip him?
These are
Almost anything that will help.
these are all good things. Okay.
I have no XP.
Okay, cool. So here's what happens. So you are able to flip out of the way in some kind of badass move. And in doing so, you see that Wyloch is almost stunned as this thing runs towards him. And as you move, you are able to shove him out of the way, expecting some kind of tendrily arm attack. What happens is this thing runs towards you. So you got him out of the way of the majority of the thing. But in doing so, it slowed you down a little bit. And what you see is this thing lumber towards the 3 of you, or the 2 of you rather, and its tendrils sort of wrap into itself, into its like where the maw is, and you just see it rip itself apart, and you hear like this as it explodes itself from within. Wyloch, you take 2 damage. Silica, you take 1 damage. It ignores armor as you are coated in this acidic blood or something. You're not entirely sure, as it starts to burn and you're kind of rolling in the dirt and the detritus and trying to rub this stuff off of you as it just tore itself asunder. And that's where we'll end the episode.
Don't worry, guys. It's just bile.
My clothes! My clothes!
So was that the cutoff? The 4th natural one?
Yeah. And that is where we will end tonight's episode of Save a Night's Fury, aptly named Non-Euclidian Depths. So yeah, let's go around, introduce our casting crew here, get what you guys think should give the XP, and we'll hear from chat next week who they think should be the XP. So chat, just a reminder, guys, these guys are going to talk amongst themselves and decide who gets an XP for tonight's episode, and you guys are going to talk in the comments down below who you think should be and why you think they should get a free XP. So let's go with all her ruined clothes and great talking skills. Kenny, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what did you think of tonight's episode?
So I'm Kenny Hill. I always try to talk to monsters because of reasons, and you can find me at twitch.tv/Kenny Hill. I'm mostly a Twitch streamer, safe for work content. So if you need somewhere to chill in the morning time, my place is the place to be.
Yeah. So if you guys want to recover from this,
yeah, this was a good night. I gotta learn not to talk to monsters.
yeah,
Don't talk
or
to
dope,
strangers.
or dope.
Yeah.
So what did you think of tonight's episode?
Gross. It was gross. And that monster, I don't know where you're getting these pictures. They're so disturbing. Nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Monday nights is nightmare night.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, let's jump over to Bill. Where can we find you online, and what did you think about tonight's episode?
I have a YouTube channel called Wyloch's Crafting Vids, and I show you how to make real cheap, easy terrain for your tabletop game with cardboard and hot glue and stuff like that. The setting is not boring, that's for sure. It's a horrifying monster. I like the way that the action moves in this system, and I liked the pretty light on roleplay tonight, heavy on exploration, which is my personal favorite. All the pillars are great, but I really like exploration.
Dope. I'm glad. Yeah, I tried to include something for everyone in this game, especially given that we have 12 episodes to do so, and the vast array of how people built their characters. I had to include a little bit for everyone. So let's jump over to Ted. Ted, who are you? Where can we find you? What did you think about this episode, and who are our sponsors for tonight?
Absolutely. I am Ted from Nerdarchy, better known as Nerdarchist Ted. You can find us on YouTube or nerdarchy.com, RPG-related content. I thought tonight's episode was awesome. I love the interplay of everything that's been going on. From everybody, not just the players, and the player side of here is a thing. I know it's a bad idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Silica pushing the button, totally awesome. So our sponsors are Archania Workshop, great 3D printed minis, terrain, dungeon tiles. It's a great resource. Lots of great stuff there. Dungeon Painter Studios, pyromancers.com. Awesome resource for spectacular maps that you can customize and use in your game.
Sweet. As always, guys, I am Mike from Unmade Gaming. If you want to find me, you can find me on YouTube at Unmade Gaming, as well as Twitch Live for the rest of the week at Unmade Gaming, and all things social media as that same thing. I loved this episode. It was really great. I told these guys at the start of the episode, I wrote the intro, and they will explore the city. And that was all I wrote. So I just sort of winged it tonight, not knowing where they would go or what sector of the city they would choose to explore or how they would choose to explore it. So I'm glad it unfolded the way it did. That was pretty cool. You guys get to experience a lot of different things. A cool artifact was talked into being. So I like to see how that's actually one of my favorite artifacts because of its just strange potential for all kinds of things. So I'm a pretty big fan of that one. When you rolled the 100, I was like, yes! Dope, he got the Yesterglass. And so, yeah, that was pretty cool. So let's talk to you guys and see who you think deserves one free XP for today.
So I'm going to say Silica for pushing the button.
I'm going to say Silica for trying to talk to that thing as it's slumbering towards you.
Yeah, I dig it.
I still want to give my vote out to Zariff for being the only level-headed one.
That's fair. That is fair. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone to make a tie because Arri's not here. So it goes to you, Silica, for pressing the button and trying to talk to the Maw of Madness. So great job, you.
In my opinion, talking to the Maw of Madness was a point against you, but the pushing the button, every player knows you're not supposed to do the thing. But you push it because it's going to be fun and the results are going to be worthwhile. So.
Yeah.
I know the DM wanted me to push it.
I mean, I put it there. I made that button just for you. If anyone else had explored the desk, there wouldn't have been a button. So awesome. Chat, guys, thank you for watching the show. In the comments down below, put who you think and why you think that this person should get an XP. Unfortunately, Arri is exempt from today as he was not here for the session. So better luck next week for him. He should be back, I believe. So yeah, guys, put that down in the section below. And yeah, from all of us to you, bye-bye.
Night.